Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Hopefully that works. Hello? Hello? This is ridiculous. Can anyone hear me now? You've got me now. Wow, what happened there? I do apologize. I've changed absolutely no settings, and for some reason my sound has changed itself to let's have a look. Audio, microphone. Microphone. Brilliant. Let me start again. Let's see if I can go out, come in with the energy. Hey, so it's match day. Who's excited? Who's excited? Yes. My microphone has got a hamstring problem because Ange-Postecoglou's been training it. Apologies. I have no idea what happened there. How embarrassing, more than anything. How embarrassing. We're going to be joined, we're going to be joined by Brian Daigle from Tottenham on tour. We're going to be looking at some very exciting things this morning. We're going to be looking at me wearing a gilet in the hope that Tim Sherwood comes back to rescue us. That's where we are. That's where we are. Tim Sherwood, this is for you, my man. This is for you. I'm starting a t-shirt range, by the way, which says, and on the 8th day, God made gilets. Don't know why. I just thought it would be quite funny to do that. Guys, girls, on a serious note, let's get back into some football, shall we? Or start with some football. Are we excited? Does anyone get excited anymore for match day? I just feel like this guy has knocked it out of me. He's knocked it out of me. I don't look forward to watching us play. You know, one big win every sort of 3 months doesn't really do it for me as a football fan. But let me know what you think. Look, massive game today. When are they not massive? Absolutely massive game today. Away at Hoffenheim. And just remember all those fans. Remember at the start of the Galatasaray game. It's a free hit today. Doesn't matter if we lose this. We're cruising through. Well, at the moment, we're not cruising through. We're not in the top 8 of the Europa League where we were the favourites to win it. God knows who. And when I'm talking about God, I mean the footballing gods. I'm not religious. Why on earth will we put as the favourites to win the Europa League is absolutely mind-numbing to me. So we're going to be talking about Hoffenheim. We're going to be looking at the table. We're also going to be talking about the new Deloitte Money League, which has been announced this morning. The Deloitte Money League. I bet you never thought you'd sing that. We're going to see where Tottenham are. How much money has Tottenham been making compared to the wages that we are slashing? And then we can all look at how badly Daniel Levy is running this football club from a football point of view. Yes, there'll be people out there who'll go, yeah, but look how solid we are with our finances and look at how stable we are, as though every other team has somehow collapsed and ceases to be a football team. Also, all the people that said, don't worry, we're gonna spring into action when FFP kicks in for these other clubs, whilst all these other clubs are still buying footballers and Tottenham Hotspur are still buying a kindergarten. So we're going to be looking into that as well. Yes, Man City have this morning signed Marmoush, for anyone that is wondering. I'm going to keep you updated. I'll see what my old mate Fab Romano has been saying in the world of transfers. I'm guessing it's absolutely nothing to do with Tottenham Hotspur. By the way, this morning, Romano has said that Man United are preparing a new offer for Patrick Dorgu of Lecce. Now, do you remember, this was a left-back that we were after. So apparently this could be, if they can get it over the line, I know there's a few other clubs looking at him, this could be the first signing under the Ruben Amorim era. He's also said that Carl Walker, in the last hour, he said Carl Walker is due to land in Milan to sign as a new AC Milan player. Loan deal, salary covered by AC Milan, potential contract until 2027, buy option clause worth 5 million not mandatory. Man City will also have a sell-on clause. Before that, it was the news that Marmoush had signed for 75 million to Man City. Now, that is a player. If anyone hasn't had the pleasure of watching Omar Marmoush play football, get out there, have a look. He's a top footballer. It's madness. It's madness. Top player. And Man City, obviously, we know they need a rebuild. We know that they've hit the rocks a little bit after 4 titles in a row. It makes you laugh, though, doesn't it? Like, I'm seeing videos from their fans, and you think to yourself, you ungrateful, entitled bunch of so-and-sos. 4 league titles in a row, and they're talking about sacking Pep, and this is terrible. And you think to yourself, God, try being a Tottenham fan. Or have they forgotten what they were before they were taken over? We'll see. I will get to anything like a prediction later. I have no idea the team. All I know is that we'll be wide open and gift Hoffenheim loads and loads of chances, because that's what Angepostecoglou does. Elsewhere in the world of transfers, Como, who just signed Dele Alli, are very close to reaching an agreement to sign Eric Garcia from Barcelona. Como were very close to reaching an agreement, but he's now decided to stay at Barcelona. Wow. So that's interesting. So Eric Garcia is going to stay there. Ronald Araujo has signed a new deal with Barcelona. Good defender, Ronald Araujo. Good centre-half. Where are we? Donnarumma, some rumours about him. Nothing else I can see this morning. Fiorentina currently not convinced to proceed for Chernadur. Bologna remain interested in discussions take place. Gerard Martin has signed a new deal at Barcelona. Hakimi has just signed a new deal at PSG. Juventus agree a deal with Chelsea to sign Renato Vega, loan for 5 million, no buy option clause. I like Renato Vega of Chelsea. I think he's a good player. And that kind of brings us all up to date to where we are this morning. So clubs across Europe starting to do bits. People starting now to look at those loan moves. I mean, Carl Walker on a 5 million loan, a superb signing for AC Milan. You're looking at Renato Vega's going out to Juventus, the draw kings of Europe, aren't they? Juventus, the absolute draw kings. Hello, mate, you want a treat? Sorry, 1 second. Stewie, a treat? Good boy, what's that? No, we're not. He's not into it. Look, anyone fancy this? Anyone fancy? This is the chicken. And this is chicken, and there's a hint of peanut butter through the straw thing. Lovely, eh? That's what dogs eat. So look, there's lots going on in the world of transfer land, but not in Tottenham's transfer land. Sorry, somebody's just emailed me to my Football Heritage TV. Okay, we'll get to that a bit later. Anyway, good morning to you all. Good afternoon. Thank you to absolutely everybody who's helped me over the last I would say 6 months, but over the last kind of 3 years with the channel, we now are only 170 away from the 16,000 mark. So if anyone would like to subscribe, I'm going to put my link in the chat. It would be absolutely amazing if anybody would subscribe if you haven't. And please, I'm going to have a look. Again, we're so bad at this. There's 270 of you in here and growing, and only 54 likes. Come on, people. Just smash that like button. It really does help YouTubers. So please, let's not have that sitting there on 54. That should be on 150 easily by now. And the link to subscribe is in the chat. And look who it is on a lovely, lovely January Thursday morning. We're going to be joined by this guy. Big up Brian Daigle from Daigleland. How we doing, my man? And it's bloody everywhere you are.
Savalicious from Football Heritage TV. Good morning to you. Hope you good. Hope everyone in the chat is good. It is 5:20 in the morning. It is, let me just give you a complete check. It is -16.
Wow.
And I'm having a coffee. I hope everyone is good and well.
Listen, I love you and respect you for coming on at this time. I just can't get down with coffee. And I know Ben Kaufman tells me off. I just can't get with it, Brian. I don't understand it. I don't get the smell. I just don't get it. I'm not a coffee guy.
Well, you know, like how they say Iron Brew is the national drink of Scotland. You can't be in Canada. Literally, people say, don't talk to me till I've had my coffee. It's a real thing here in Canada. I'm having my coffee. And then I'll be nice and pleasant. But I've woken up and I've had a load of messages about the medical team, but I haven't seen it. I haven't opened anything. So I was like, no, I'm coming on to speak with you. Let's do this. I don't know what's gone on this morning at Spurs land or Spurs hell.
Well, look, to be fair, what I've got for you for a little bit later is, I don't know if you know, but Deloitte this morning released their money league in football. So that's exciting. So we get to look and see where Spurs are. And we are, Brian, don't want to get you excited because I know it's 5:20 in the morning. But unlike real life football, we're in the top 10 of the Deloitte Money League. We're in the top half.
Shocking.
Top half, we are.
We're in the top half of money things.
Yes, top half of money things. And what's brilliant, when we get there, we'll have a look at it's got all these lovely little bars and graphs to show revenue from different streams. And then it's got this one line that shows the wages. And our wages, as we're going like that with revenue, our wages are kind of coming this way. But we'll have a look at it. We'll also have a look at the teams around us. You can see like Arsenal's salary is climbing and climbing. Man City's has stayed the same. I mean, Man City four times in a row champions, and then there's Spurs. Our salary's going this way, and this is why I couldn't believe, Brian, in the summer the number of people doing these videos talking about third and definitely going to get Champions League football, and we could challenge. And people were saying we're going to finish above Arsenal this year, and Liverpool are going to drop off the slot, and we're going to be the ones. And I tell you what, it's not about I'm right, you're wrong type thing, Brian. No. But I look back at this and go, where was this? Was this copium? Where was this belief coming from in the summer from a lot of this fan base?
Joe, I've said to a lot of people, I understand people having blind faith in the football team. I understand people wanting to be extremely positive about their football team and wanting what's best. But when you see the decline we've been on over the years, and not just with Ange, with other managers, you can see since the peak Poch, we've had whatever it is, it's been on a rapid decline, whether it's been the quality of player, the wage of player, the style of football, the approach, the scouting network, everything is on the decline. And when you just bring in one player, as in Solanke, that you'll say, right, he's walking straight into the first team. That's your number 9. And no one else. You have to start asking questions. You have to. You need to sit back and go, do you know what? This isn't, as much as I want to support the team and be that positive one and think that success. Do you remember the way I describe it? Do you remember when you go to school and when you're a little kid and all you do is you think your team is the best. You're like 7, 8, 9 years old. We're the best. We're the best. We're the best. You're like Tottenham were obviously 16th, 14th, 13th, 11th. But we're the best. We're the best. Every single player is the best for Spurs. That's where we are now. But as adults. I don't see how anyone, and like I said, everyone's right to be positive. How people could think we were going to be in the top 4 with this squad before everything that's happened this season. It blows my mind. It's not real. Yeah, you can't do it. Positivity and faith and supporting your team, yes. Looking at the squads and thinking that's achievable, no, you've got to level it out somewhere.
Yeah, look, it's madness, isn't it? It's madness. As I said, all I want to do to be happy, I've decided that my 2025 resolution is I want Tim Sherwood back. Hence why I'm wearing a gilet. Bring back Tim. Justice for Sherwood. That's all I care about at the moment. Look, we will look at the Deloitte Money League, the DML, I believe they call it. The DML. It sounds really cool, doesn't it? By the way, also an ex-Spurs manager, Jose Mourinho, has just completed in the last 5 minutes. Diego Carlos has signed for Fenerbahce, and later today, Milan Skriniar will sign. So Jose Mourinho, in the space of 24 hours, has got a brand new centre-back partnership. By the way, both centre-halves I would have at Tottenham Hotspur, by the way, Milan Skriniar. We were having this chat yesterday, Brian, and people were saying, obviously, like, because of the connection with Milan Skriniar, what, 4 years ago now?
Yep.
4, wasn't it? Yeah, so 4 years ago, it was, I think it was at the time, why can't I remember his name? Got a scout at the time for Spurs, head guy, Ian, no.
Oh, Ian Fairclough.
No. What's his name? Before Paratici.
Steve Hitchin.
Ian Hitchin, right.
Steve Hitchin.
Steve Hitchin, sorry. Ian. Who's Ian?
That's why I said Ian Fairclough. We had a scout.
Where are you, Ian? Do you remember the whole saga? He's out in Italy. He's out in Milan. There were videos of him going like this through this kind of side door down this back street, and then we ended up 2 weeks later announcing Joe Roden. And since then, I mean, it's not funny, Brian. Don't laugh. It's not funny. This is real life events.
Yeah,
this happened,
mate. I think I don't know. I send you a few bits, Savs, because obviously you're not on Twitter. But I play, and there's a lot of people in the chat here that play it with me, buzzword bingo. So when I remember back then from the buzzword, when you just said the story of Hitchin, it's just like, yep, this is what we do. It's what we do. And it's mad to think that Jose Mourinho's finally got his man at a club, hasn't he? He's wanted to win. He's finally got his man, but now you're telling me he's got a defensive duo. In this really hard January transfer window, and obviously Galatasaray have got as much money as us. It drives me mad. It's getting silly now. We are day 23.
It is funny, and look, but since that date, listen, I'm starting a campaign. Join me, people. Bring back Sherwood until the summer of 2025. Join me on my quest. I'm going to message Tim Sherwood somehow and see if he wants to come on the show. That would be absolutely... Can you imagine if you woke up and you just saw Tim Sherwood just randomly having a chat with me about Tottenham Hotspur?
That would be awesome.
The reason I bring up Skriniar is because obviously 4 years ago we were after him. And you know what Spurs fans are like, Brian? When Spurs have been linked... monitoring, in talks with, interested, caught, whatever, right? We then don't let go for the next 5 years. That's our player. In our mind, we'll get him. Anyway, so Milan Skriniar for the last 4 years, every window, it's should we go back for Milan Skriniar? And somebody said to me the other day, I can't believe that Skriniar's chosen, because we apparently offered a loan and Fenerbahce offered a permanent deal this summer, this window. And someone's going, I can't believe he's chosen Turkey over us. I'm sitting there going, hang on. One, I'm sure Milan Skriniar likes his hamstrings, right? Yeah. I'm sure he likes his hamstrings. There's the first thing. He's 29, 30. If someone can confirm that in the chat, I'm pretty sure he's 29 or 30, right? He's of that age where, I mean, for me, 29's a young age, right? I mean, we're not that age. 29's young. For a centre-half, you're getting to your last 3, 4, 5 years of football. So you've got to look after yourself.
Next month, Savva. He's 30 next month.
There you go. So he'll be 30 by the end of February, right? So, first of all, I said, hamstrings. Second of all, Milan Skriniar's a proper old-school defender, Brian. He's a centre half, and I'm looking at him thinking he'll watch the way we play and go, sorry, you want me to be on the halfway line playing a highlight? Nah, I don't do that. Third, who are you picking? Jose Mourinho or Angepostecoglou? I don't care what the league is. Who are you trusting?
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, it's mad.
You go for Jose. You go for Jose, but there's things to this. First of all, what I loved about this as well is everyone going mad about the loan deal. The loan deal couldn't be completed yesterday until PSG did what they did, because the Mawani deal stumbled because they had too many loan players out, like we did with Matt Doherty. So when they were talking a loan, it couldn't even be done. but we all kept believing it. Hennessy, you need to drink some more coffee, mate. Maybe this guy to the left of me in the G Day. This is me and PJ.
We're bloody ugly. Trust me, it's we're really ugly.
Out of us two, mate, I'm the funny one. Let's put it that way. So getting back to Skriniar, it couldn't have been done. And then PSG had jiggled the books, but like I said, and the worst thing about this is, and why I'm so annoyed with this Skriniar, I think he's a great defender. I think he was a great defender, but in a Jose Mourinho system, he doesn't.
Agreed.
He's not an Angepostecoglou style defender. Yes, he would have brought the experience, the maturity, the stability, and everything, but not his actual in-game play. Off the pitch, he'd be valuable. On the pitch, he's not that style of player, and I don't know why we do this at Tottenham. This team, we've always done this. This team would have been perfect for Conte with that back five. But now we're playing so many youngsters, we've gone back that this team's perfect for Poch.
Right. Yeah.
No matter what, I guarantee once Ange goes and we bring in the next manager, in 2 years we'll have the perfect team for Ange. It's what we do. We don't buy. We're so busy buying youngsters that by the time they're ready for the previous manager's football.
It's mad. We're never actually in the present, are we? You're right. We're never in the present. But it does, beg the question. By the way, Anthony is signing in the next 48 hours, apparently, for Real Betis on loan from Man United. But Romano has said he might be in the Man United squad later today for their massive game against Rangers. That's a huge game, isn't it? Man United Rangers on paper is a massive game. And I think that Man United can all but secure qualification tonight. I'm just going to have a look. Sorry, Man United are 7th. A win today will take them on to 15 points, which should be enough to see them in the last 8. I think Ruben Amorim got to watch out for them winning that, but that's a different conversation. We'll get to that later. I look at this though, Brian, and I think to myself, we keep talking about this as Spurs fans, like, but he's not an Ange player. My worry is who is, because every time we go for a footballer, I'm hearing he's not an Ange player.
Mm-hmm.
What, Brian, in your mind, what the bloody hell does this mean? Because when we signed Radu Dragusin, which was exactly a year ago, Radu Dragusin, right? Give or take a few days. Yeah. This is the time of year last year we signed Radu Dragusin, and our fans were doing cartwheels. We beat Bayern Munich to this guy. He's a brilliant defender. He can play with his feet, blah, blah, blah. Fast forward a year, this guy is shit. He's not an Ange Postecoglou signing. He doesn't fit in the system. What does this mean anymore, Brian?
No,
what is this?
I wish I could answer that question, because I think an Ange type player now is someone with a hamstring issue. I think that's what it is now. The attributes we need to look into. I mean, mate, I'm not joking here. If we had Ryan Sessegnon back, we'd kill him.
Oh, wow! More than what we saw of him. We'll see even less.
Yeah, listen. You start looking at this now, and as you know, Savva, you and me have had banter and joked about. I am probably one of the people that stayed Ange in the longest, and I stuck to my guns.
Shame on you. Shame on you.
Listen, mate. The good thing is, like I say, when people change sides from how they feel about the board to here, I send out a welcome pack and say, "Welcome to this side. Here's your badge and your membership card." Well, I'm waiting for you to post out the Ange out welcome pack to me, because you just can't defend it anymore. There's no defending of anything. I can't identify an Ange type player for you. I wouldn't know where to even begin.
Are we saying, from lots of people's ideology of what Ange Ball is, are we literally saying that if you can run around a lot and have pace, you're an Ange player? Because I feel like our fans chop and change their mind on who's a good footballer and who did the club sign him, did the manager sign him, depending on whether they've had a bad game or not. Because Radu Dragusin is the perfect example of this. Radu Dragusin came in to the Tottenham team when Van de Ven and Romero got injured, and we had a 4-1 win against Villa. 4-0 win against City,
Mm-hmm.
2-1 win against City in the Cup. He was part of all those defenses. And people were going, yeah, he's a proper old school defender, him. Then when we get caught on the high line and he's got players running at him, we all go, oh, he's shit. And he hasn't got players running at him. I think, like anything, Brian, I nearly called you Levy. God, I nearly called you Levy. That
would have been me on a flight home. That would have been me on a flight home.
I know. I think, like with anything, Brian, I think the truth probably lives somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
That, Dragusin isn't as great as people thought. He's not as shit as people think. But I do believe that this is yet another guy that is his weaknesses are being exposed by our own manager rather than the opposition looking for his weaknesses. Because I don't think this manager plays to anybody's strengths. That's just my opinion.
All I will say, what was it about yesterday? When I think I was watching your show with James and Mark yesterday. I remember I'm just talking about the first 10 games briefly. That was some of the best football we could have seen. It was free flowing. It was entertaining in parts. Yes, some of the results we got fortunate. Sheffield United, Luton, but you could see what we were trying to do. It was all non-stop attack, shots. And then since this 10 games, we've become. Look at our XG. Look at our possession. Yeah. Look at our running stats. Yeah. I'm sorry, under no manager. The only time I ever heard about running stats was when we sat Nuno and we were 20th. We went to Conte and we were first.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, these stats and the wonderful goal difference, these have become what people are ranking as. Look how well we're doing. It's not points on the board anymore. It's have you seen our XG compared to other teams? Have you seen our running stats? Have you seen our possession? These stats make me. They really. Savva, you and I class ourselves as old school football fans. Wins, draws, losses, points.
Mate, these stats don't mean anything if you're not winning games of football.
Yeah,
like. You know me. I like to listen. I'm not funny this, right? I'm not the world's biggest fan on looking at the stat of every single footballer. Like for me, I look at forwards and I want to know, what do you do as a forward? If you are in the team as the goal scorer, how many goals and assists have you got this season? Right? If you are in the team as an Emil Heskey, for example, who wasn't the main goal scorer, he was the foil for people like Michael Owen. You go, okay, what else are you bringing to the table? What I don't understand, though, in this day and age is for a football team's output, the team, not the individual, the only thing that matters is when you look at the league table, how many wins, how many draws, how many losses, right? That's how many points. Ultimately, that column. When I was debating with people and saying, look, here's my evidence, right? Here's all my evidence that I collate over 2 months, 3 months, 1 year, 18 months. People are going to me, well, you cherry pick. I'm like, okay, cool. Come back at me then. Come back at me with... Put some evidence together. These aren't my facts, Brian. These are Tottenham facts.
Yep.
And the thing that people kept coming back to me with, well, when you look at our XG, no, that's not a barometer of winning games. Yep. XG is a new thing in the last 5 years where suddenly people are using this to back failure. Yeah, we lost 3-0 today, but our XG was about 4.2. What? It don't mean if we had looked at Man United's XG when they had Andy Cole, who and Andy Cole was a 1 in 5 striker but scored loads, right? How many goals would Man United have scored if XG actually meant anything? Yeah, how many goals each week would Man City score if XG was the barometer, the only barometer?
Yep.
It's about the ones you do convert. It's not about, well, we had 94 chances today. And this is what drives me mad. And sorry for the rant here, Brian, but this is what drives me mad. So when I was debating with all these people months and months ago, they were going, well, you wait till it clicks because look, we played Villa. Like people keep going, we played Leicester off the park. We played Newcastle off the park. And you're like, but I don't really remember their goalkeepers actually doing anything in the game. Like what is this new obsession, Brian, with this barometer of success being anything but what the barometer of success actually is, which is the league table?
I don't know. I'll tell you now, like I've never taught myself how to play poker because of my addictive nature. I
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know how you work out XG. When people go to me, oh, the XG was this, I'm like, you might as well be speaking to me in Portuguese because
Yeah.
I refuse to learn it. And then people go, but it's an important part of the game. And I'm like, well, is it? Is it really? What does it actually tell you? That we should have scored more goals but didn't. Oh, okay. Thank you. I'll go back to the old fashioned. I'll go back to the old fashioned. How many goals did we score? These stats, like I said, it's an easy thing to. I remember when I used to play Championship Manager, late 90s, early 2000s. There was about 15 stats out of 20. You open up a player's stats now on these Football Manager games. There's like 85 stats.
Oh my
Everything.
God.
It's like, where has all this come from?
Yeah.
It's too much. These stats that, like you said, you can go with one argument and then they'll bring up the XG for this. It's like, what does XG do? Is there a trophy? Are we going to win the XG of the year trophy? Are we? I don't understand where we've gone where football isn't based on win, lose, draw points. Anything else to me, I understand football evolves, the style of football, the diet, the science, everything, but the game hasn't changed. So why are people celebrating things like XG, like look at our running stats, look all of those that come out? I'm just like, what are you talking about?
Oh, do you know what, Brian? Right, when you look at this, right. So the other day, I was having a chat with someone, and they were trying to convince me how shit Aston Villa were. Right?
Yeah.
It's not a YouTuber, by the way. They were trying to convince me how shit Aston Villa were, and I turned around. I went, sorry. I said to them, look at the league table. Please convince me. I said, they finished above us 2 years in a row. Please, can you convince me why Aston Villa are shit, but you like Ange? This was an Ange in person. And they said, well, if you actually look at it, we've conceded only one more than them, and we've scored 12 more goals. And I said, well, doesn't that go to show you then that all of these pointless stats don't mean anything?
Yeah.
Right? Because the stat I'm looking at two things on this, Brian. I'm looking at the difference between them being 8th and us being 15th. So I'm looking at the difference of 8 places in the Premier League table.
Yep.
And more than that, I'm looking at Aston Villa being 12 points clear. That's
12,
a 4.
Jesus Christ.
That's a 4-win swing, maybe 5-game swing, if we're going to be honest, right? And yet, these are the people telling you, oh, Villa haven't improved from last year, as they sit 2 points off Champions League football, right? And it's the same thing. People going to me, oh, I wouldn't want, why would you want Iriola? I don't know. Have a look at Iriola. His team's only conceded 26, 13 points clear of Tottenham. You know what I mean? Like, it almost feels to me, Brian, that we're now no longer looking at what is actually the metric to make a team good. We're actually now trying to pigeonhole everything else. You know, when Ange gets his own players. Well, I was told that Maddison was his own player.
Yep.
Dragusin was his own player. I was told that Van der Ven was his own player. Udogi's perfect for Ange Ball. I was told that Johnson was his own player and Solanke was perfect for Ange Ball. All of these players that I'm told are perfect for him and are his players, when it doesn't work, we suddenly swing to, nah, not his players. And I don't know, it feels like so many people have their head in that sand about this football club that it's unreal, Brian. I want to move on though, Brian. I do want to move on. I want to talk about the two main things I want to talk about. I mean, I don't know what's your time availability this morning. I don't know what you've got.
I've got till I think I've got till about 11:30 midday your time.
Okay, wicked. All right, let's get into it. Look, we've got Hoffenheim tonight. And again, I'll go back to the beginning when people were saying, Brian, when all those people said before the Galatasaray game, when the manager made 8 changes to play Galatasaray, 7 changes to play Galatasaray away, it's a free hit. And I remember thinking at the time, I mean, first of all, how arrogant are we that we think we're just going to fly through?
Yep.
And it's proven to be that way, Brian. Listen, I'm not saying it's disastrous. We're currently sitting 9th. Hang on, let's have a look. So the top teams are on 16. Here we go. This is the Europa League. Let's stop that screen. Let's present, share screen. There we go. Okay, so we're currently sitting We're currently sitting ninth, as you can see, just outside the screen there, outside the top 8. But when we beat Ferencvaros, we were 3 wins from 3, and we were first or second, and only second, I believe, on goal difference. And now look at the last 3 games. Yeah, lost, draw. What on earth has happened to us? Do you actually think we've been any good in the Europa League? And do you see a danger that we don't actually get to the next stage?
So first of all, how nice is it to look at the top half of a table? Let's just enjoy Spurs fans. Let's reminisce. Let's keep this up as long as possible, mate, so we can actually see the top part. This is a wonderful, wonderful part. What a wonderful change of direction. But no, going back to Galatasaray, I did a load of stuff with We Are Tottenham and other people, and I said, you don't go to Galatasaray. Forget the league form. You don't go away to Galatasaray and play kids. There's certain times that you can bleed kids in. This is one of the toughest, most hostile and toxic grounds, atmosphere-wise, you're ever going to walk into in your career in European football. You've got to play a full team, and I said at the beginning of the season, it's the cups that matter. Get the UEFA or the Europa League top 8 qualified done, assured. Then play the kids where there's no risk. He puts Will Lancashire in. He puts a 19-year-old in and say, right, have some of that. Obviously, he scored but we got absolutely annihilated. Absolutely annihilated. And do you remember when there were times where we did this? I think it was under Conte or Jose in Europe, and then we lost the following league game, even though he rested teams for the next league game. Well, the next league game was Ipswich. So all that resting worked well against Ipswich, didn't it? It doesn't work. And you look at it since then, there's no free hits in Europe. There is none. And you're right, we should not have said this is a free hit because it sets the tone. If you think about it, if we had a terrible away form, or still do up until then, if he'd gone and played as many first teamers as he could, and they got a win away at Turkey, away in Turkey at Galatasaray, that could have been incredible for their psychology, their mental. Listen, we've gone there, we've gone to one of the most hostile places. And since then, we can't beat even Crystal Palace away. Don't get me wrong, that section of their ground is very hostile. But you know, I mean, it would have been like, yes, do you know what? We can go to the tough places. We can get the victories in the toughest of toughest. Let's go have some. But no. And then you said 2 draws, and let's face it, happened at Rangers as well, didn't they? They intimidated us off the park, and there's no free hits in Europe. It was silly for people to say it, but then again, I think people still thought we'd make top 4 when they were saying that. So they're probably like, "Oh, our top," and that's
bang on. But again, for me, this shows again. This was a reason why at the time I thought the manager had got it all wrong, and I said it. I said, "Listen, I've got no problem with wanting to blood these youngsters, but are you really going to turn around and go, the time to play these youngsters is Galatasaray away in that cauldron?" And it is. And Galatasaray that day, I mean, how we got away with only a 1-goal defeat, I will never know. Ottoman should have had 10.
Yep.
And I don't even think I'm exaggerating. Ottoman had chance after chance after chance. They battered us from pillar to post, and everyone going, free hit. Cool. We then get to Roma. We then play Roma at home. Roma, who had just sacked their manager and brought in Dilly Ding Dilly Dong, right? And I like Dilly Ding Dilly Dong. They just sacked their manager because I think it was like their 3rd manager of the season or something, Brian. And Roma come to White Hart Lane, and for the first, do you remember we scored? We had a kind of, it wasn't a controversial penalty, but a very soft penalty in the first 5-10 minutes. And then Roma were all over us for the rest of the first half. And then the last half an hour of the game was just Roma, like, all overloading us. And you're thinking to yourself, okay, right, well, you've got to beat Rangers. We go to Rangers, a crap Rangers this season, by the way. Sorry, any Rangers fans. It's not the Rangers that I grew up watching with the likes of De Boer and Paul Gascoigne and
George Alberts. Do you remember George Alberts, the hammer?
Alberts, yeah, absolutely. It's not that Rangers. We go there and don't get a win. So we're now 50% of the games in Europa we have not won.
Yeah.
So the 3 games we have won now are Ferencvaros, Karabag, and AZ Alkmaar. Now, bearing in mind, Ferencvaros, we nearly messed that up. We were awful. AZ Alkmaar, we needed a penalty because we couldn't break them down, right? And Karabag, yeah, I mean, Karabag are like the worst team in that competition. And I might have done them a misjustice here. Karabag are 33rd. 33rd. They've lost 4 of their 6 games so far. Sorry, I've lied. They've lost 5 of their games, 1-1, and they are 33rd. Just to break the news to people, they can still qualify if they win their last 2, though. They can still qualify if they win their last 2. And now we're sitting here going Hoffenheim. Now Hoffenheim, who are having a really bad season themselves, Brian. For anyone that wants to know about Hoffenheim, they're having last year they had a good season. If we look at the league table here in Germany, Hoffenheim are sitting 16th. They're in the relegation zone. I think it's actually I think in Germany what they do is the bottom 2 go down. Somebody in the chat will tell me if I'm talking absolute playoff. I think the bottom 2 go down, and I think the 3rd team goes into a playoff with the 3rd team in Bundesliga 2, and then the winner of that game goes up or stays up. So at the moment, Hoffenheim are 15th. They're just above that. Sorry, I was looking at Heidenheim. Hoffenheim are 15th, so they're in the same position as Tottenham in the league. They are 15th. They've only got 17 points from 18 games. In their last, I'm looking at their games. In their last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, in their last 10 games, other than a World Club friendly, they've won 1 game. So they are the same as Spurs, 10 games, 1 win. And I don't know if you saw this, Brian. It might have been you who sent it to me. Someone sent it to me. The Hoffenheim player, Kramaric.
I've heard about it. I haven't seen it.
They lost 5-0 to Bayern. And in his interview afterwards, it was proper like, yeah, don't give a shit. Like, he didn't say I don't give a shit. He was like, he went, this is all going to come out. We were terrible. We've been terrible. I can't tell the truth because if I do, I'm going to get in trouble. They then go and win their next game, and they've now got Dr. Tottenham in Hoffenheim. If we don't win tonight, I'm going to ask the dreaded question. If we don't win tonight and we're then 4 Europa games without a win in a competition where we were favourites by the bookies to win it, surely he's got to go. I can't believe how many times I've said that. Surely, Brian. If you don't win tonight, he's got to go. So
first of all, I've been likening, and you'll like this one, I've been likening that interview that player did to the man you want back, the man in the gilet, the famous one at Chelsea, where mate, do you know what? I watched that interview recently.
Yeah.
I watched it, and I know he's talking about my man Jan Vertonghen in it as well, but that interview was absolutely like Conte's pipe bomb. He set the record straight. I don't think we get a win today. And you've got to remember, those German crowds will be very, very passionate, very, very loud again. We don't even know what squad we can put out at the moment. I don't, sir. I can't. I think he's got till Leicester. And if neither of them or both of them aren't wins, I think he's banging trouble. I literally think the Postecoglou era is days away. Literally days away from being over.
That is like music to my ears.
Especially Savva, you have seen what the medical team have come out and said today, haven't you?
Today, I mean, I get so much sent to me. I have my gallery in my phone, honestly, is like I'm having to delete like 100 things a day just through how much I get sent about this.
Let me find it.
Go on,
right, here you go. This is
from
The Athletic. Jeff Scott, former Spurs head of medicine and sports science, left Spurs after clashing with Postecoglou. Although the club insists that Scott's departure did not involve Ange Postecoglou, sources with knowledge of the situation, who asked to remain anonymous to protect their relationships, said the pair fell out over how to manage the first team squad overload and the recovery of injured players.
Oh God, I love Tottenham so much.
So that's come out. So basically what they're saying is they've had a massive falling out because the medical team, as woeful as they have been clashing about Ange of when to bring players back, and Ange has basically been saying no, they're playing. So then you look. Oh, wait a minute. Terry sent me a message. Apparently, it might. Let me just check with Terry if he sent me a message. Apparently, it might have been fake. So if it is, I apologise. But it's breaking everywhere.
Sounds true, though, doesn't it?
Oh, mate, do you know what? If people say it's fake, I believe every single word of it. There's certain things you say, yeah, that's fake. I completely believe every single word of it.
Yeah. Listen, I'll tell you what I believe. I'll tell you what I believe, which is absolutely shocking, Brian, is listen, I'm coming on doing these morning shows for people. And I don't know if people like them because we're not getting enough likes. We've got 150 likes exactly from 530 people. Guys and girls, hardly any likes. We've had one subscriber the entire show. Guys and girls, I'm bringing you. Look at the caliber of guest I'm bringing to you. By the way, we will be live at 4 p.m. today for all the build up to Tottenham versus Hoffenheim. And then obviously one of my famous watch alongs where I suddenly think that I'm Jonathan Pearce or John Motson and start commentating like mad.
I have to say, we're talking to that stuff. I just got to say one thing. Yep. I was just flicking through YouTube the other day, and after games, it shows there's people that clip watch alongs.
Oh, yeah.
There was one. It was for the Everton game, and I saw your picture on the thumbnail. So I thought I haven't watched the watch along because I was watching the game. your reactions to the Everton goals, I was crying. I was crying with, oh no, it's too sack this guy, get him out. That guy. Mate, it was hysterical.
Do you know what I can't do though? I used to watch those reactions. I hate all the people that fall off their chair and people who like running around studios for a goal going in. I'm a bit like, look, people could celebrate how they want. I just find it all a little bit dramatic. But hey, that's me. Listen, I've got a super chat here from Memes for You. I said, Iriola plays with 2 8s for more defensive stability and regular fullbacks. Iriola also has 12 injuries and is still performing because he can adapt. But apparently he won't make a difference in Spurs. Memes for You. Absolutely. Look, first of all, thank you very much for the super chat. I think the key thing here is for me, Memes for You. I'm just going to call you Memes. It's easier. Memes. The key thing for me here is I get it that there's injuries. I get it. I get that football clubs are going to have injuries. I don't like this notion that people say when we've got our first 11, because it's a 25-man squad for a reason, right? Yeah. Teams very rarely have their best 11 out 2, 3, 4 games in a row. You rotate. You've got 4 competitions. And we've seen that Bournemouth with 10 first-team players out right now go to Newcastle and win 4-1. Now, I'm not just picking one game, Brian. They've not lost in 11 Premier League games, and during that time, they've had anywhere between 6 and 10 injuries per game. Mm-hmm. And for me, that's the difference between a coach who knows how to get the best out of his players and one who's got suicidal tactics that players coming in going, so what? I don't get it. What are we doing here? No one looks comfortable. Like you watch Bournemouth, the players that drop into Bournemouth's first 11 look super comfortable. I'm not saying they're the greatest players in the world, but they've got an ethos. They've got a work rate. They've got a team ethic. They've got a kind of understanding on the pitch of who should be where. I watch Spurs and we just look all over the place, Brian. Like, that's why I don't like this manager. It's not injuries. It's not that we lose a few games. We just look like the worst coach team in the league.
Yeah, it looks like honestly, I think we might as well come out of the tunnel and then just put jumpers for goalposts down and then just say run around a bit, because that's all we do at the moment. That's like when you go to the park. I think Bournemouth are doing incredible. Do you know who I love? I can't remember. Is it Gekes? Their left back or right back?
Kirkes. He's quality.
I think he's absolutely exceptional. I think you look at what I watched the game against us. I saw him against Wolves and all the games. He looks exactly like what we need. The exact prototype we need as a fullback for the. They're finding these players And do you know what I love about Bournemouth is that club, and you've got to remember how small their stadium is. They've got a very wealthy owner, but their stadium and their capabilities to reach for the stars is very, very restricted because of their stadium and everything they've got. But do you know what? At Bournemouth, they set cultures. They've got standards. They've got ethos. They've got, and they're all pulling in the same direction. Fan, owner, manager, director, whatever they've got. And you can see it reflected on the pitch. You can see it reflected on their pitch, and they're just playing with a swagger, a confidence, a belief. What they're doing with their managers is, do you remember when, and I hate always going back to Pete Poch, if a player was out, like let's take Jan Vertonghen, when he went out the first championship against Leicester, we put Wimmer in there. And for those remaining games, Kevin Wimmer looked like prime Jan Vertonghen.
Yeah, he did well. He did well. I remember.
He did it incredible. Yeah. The next season, not so much, but the players just slotted in. It was like, right, this is your job. The whole team are here. We're playing the same way. This is what you do. We're going to plop you in here. This is how we... And they just carry on. Bournemouth just carry on. Whereas here, we're coached all in different ways. So when these players come in, we're moving from one position to the other. And they're out of position and don't know what they're doing. It's like, even, you know, I gave Postecoglou some form of praise against Everton because he tried to go to a back three. But of all games to do it, we had the perfect three defenders to play a back three, and we all wanted to see it. And then he waits till we're playing against Everton, where Davies had just come back from an injury. Dragusin was injured or knackered from playing 20 games on the bounce, and Archie Gray, who was a midfielder. It's like
But also, Brian, if you are going to go to a back three, big up Johnny, by the way. Look, we're bringing out some big guns. Yeah, we're bringing out some big guns.
Just quickly, Brian, Savva, how you doing, boys?
What's up, Johnny?
Good morning, mate. Morning. I'm going to bring you in 1 second, Johnny. For me, Brian, the key thing is, if you are going to go to a back three, like I think many people asked, I think the whole point that people wanted the back three was that we had wing backs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was only for about 20 minutes. We played a back three, and our wing backs are still inverting. Wing backs is to give you width. That's the whole point of wing backs, is that you get width from your wing backs. This manager just, look, I'm a bit baffled by everything he does. And look, before we go to the defense money league, before we go to the Deloitte money league, what am I doing there? Good morning, Johnny. How are you, mate?
I'm all right. I don't think there was any shocks in the Deloitte money league, really, is there? You know, it's the same old. But just about the back three, because I've come in obviously at the end, and I don't want to go back over old ground.
Go for it.
I've been going on about a back three. I thought, I dare to suggest that when we signed Radu in January, could Angepostecoglou actually go to a back three? What are the benefits of a back three? Oh, hang on. We've got Mickey van der Ven, who likes to go forward. We have Romero, who likes to bring the ball forward. We could have a pivot. We could have a situation where one drops off, one drops on. And I think it would suit the backs better. I think it would give us more cover defensively. And I thought, why not, right? The way we're playing, we're so vulnerable. This, to me, looks like a great idea. Did I ever think that this guy would actually adopt it when he's playing an 18-year-old number 6 as a centre-back, a guy who's just come back from an injury, and a guy, Radu, who looks like he's devoid of all confidence. He's playing with an injury. He's just come back from an illness, and he's playing in a system. He's got no idea what's going on. He's actually played in a back three before, so he would have had half a chance.
Yeah,
I just don't know what to say anymore about this manager. But let's be honest, if Levy was to sack him, he's Angie's he's a big Kevlar vest, but he's the big Kevlar vest that's protecting Levy from a barrage of abuse. Because let's be honest, I don't blame Ange in the sense that he should never have got the job in the first place. 4 months of searching, it does not take you 4 months to find a manager if people are queuing up. If people are queuing up, you've got your choice of the best in the world. We unfortunately weren't in that situation. So I don't blame the fact that he's got the job and he's, fallen way short. I blame the man who appointed him, who is now hiding behind him and is too scared to get rid of him.
Look, let's have that conversation then. I think this is quite interesting, isn't it? Yes, you're 100% right. At the time I was wrong. I know you're not going to hear me say those words out my mouth quite a lot, but I was wrong. I thought to myself, you know what? Look, we've been through a turbulent time. Maybe this is a breath of fresh air. I thought maybe this is a manager that's going to come in. I was told he was brilliant with youth players. I was told that he adapts. I was told that, right? And I was like, okay, cool. Right, let's do this. Then, as I said, guys, you guys know me well enough. I think everyone in the Spurs world knows me well enough. Then this happened, and I decided, nope, absolutely not. You are not the manager for me. No, 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 no. By that time, we hadn't even lost a game. And no, you've got to go. And ever since then, I've been Ange out. The worrying thing for me, Brian, is what Johnny's saying there is normally by now, I know you two really like Daniel Levy, but I'm going to say some things about him.
Love him, absolutely adore him.
But normally by now, and Daniel Levy is normally doing Daniel Levy things, which is pulling that trigger. Normally by now, this is where Levy springs into action.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what I was speaking to the other day. He said the one time we want Levy to be Daniel, it was Stell knows. The one time I want Daniel Levy to do Daniel Levy things, he's even letting me down on this one. Like, I will be Daniel Levy in for one day if he sacks Ange. Like, just for one day, I will. So why, Brian? Why is he not sacking him? Is it like Johnny said? Is it because he's got a save face? Is it because he is the shield between shit, I fucked up again?
Yep.
And I don't know what to do, rather than the ruthless chairman we normally see that says, no, mate, your results are shit, you're gone. Why is he still here?
Yeah, I think with this manager, the PR spin and machine, the well is dry. The well is completely dry. There's no way to spin. He is definitely still there because it is the shield. Because as you've seen, and I'm delighted and I'm fully a part of it. Anything that puts pressure on the board, somewhere I'm in the middle of it or on the top of it, whatever, with other people. Egypt, this was the last project that, he's changed this time. It's going to be a different setup. It's going to be a different way to approach transfer. It was all another ruse that people could tell from the start. He is solely still there in the second. Because the only way I think he can unite the fans again, the only way, which is not going to happen, by the way, is he bring back Poch. That's the only manager he can bring back that will stop this. But he's, first of all, not going to apologise to Poch. Second of all, he's not going to pay compensation to America. And third of all, Poch ain't going to come. But when it comes to not being sacked, it is completely, totally and utterly because of the grief that will come for him screwing up. Because you look at it, if you look at positions, managers got sacked in recent history. We've had in the top four. We've had seventh, eighth. We've all been in the top half. I think the only one in recent history is one day Ramos and the end of Poch. And we all know at the end of Poch, everything was going tits up because he wasn't properly backed when he should have been. There is no justification to keep him anymore. Because when people keep saying, Savva, you would have known because you've been saying your way from when we get through this. Once we get through this bit and everyone's back, then things will be better. How can it's not going to happen? Open your eyes. Open your eyes. When the players come back, people just think when these players come back, they're going to have taken this magic pill where they don't break down and get injured again. Not instantly, but they think they're all going to come back, all be in tip-top form, and will go surging up the table. There is no stat. Well, like you said, Stava, the stats that you bring up right now, or that you have done regularly, there is not one that can defend him. There is
not. They do.
I know.
But they do, Brian. They do defend him.
They do defend him as in the fan back, but this is why Levy's doing it, because he knows right now I'm up shit creek. Mate, do you know what? Incognito, what I would say is if we had a manager that would play Destiny as a wing back, not the fullback, so he was doing what he did at Udinese, maybe. But then Savva,
but this is where we are, Brian. This is where we are, unfortunately. We do this. This is what makes me laugh. So Incognito is one of those that will say things like Adogi is levels above this player, Porro's levels above this player, Madison, Kulu, everyone's levels above everyone else at other clubs. Yep. But then when I say, okay, why are we 15th? Oh, he hasn't got the players. Well, which one is it? I'm sorry, I watch Kirkes at Bournemouth. I'm taking
different gravy. Different gravy.
All day, every day. He can go forward and he can defend and he does his job. Adogi, for me, I'm sorry, I've watched him for 18 months now. He's okay, but for me, just a little bit overrated. And like you said, Brian, I want to see what would he do with a proper manager. That's when I think we'd see if he's a top player or not.
Do you know who's getting away scot-free, guys?
You're going to say Lange?
No, I'm going to go higher. I'm going to go in between. The guy Scott Munn. Now, here's a character, okay? A man who really doesn't have experience of top flight football. No disrespect to Australian sport and what have you. They're part of the City group. Here is a guy who came in and decided he was going to bring Spurs up to date. He was going to restructure absolutely everything. His first restructuring was to upset Gabonini, who was working hand in hand with Fabio, who brought in the players that really started to turn this club around. He got rid of him. So he left, Gabonini left, Steinson left. In fact, the only person that Fabio brought in that's still there is Scalding. He then tried to bring in and restructure the data books. He brought in Johan Lang, the guy who brought Steven Gerrard to Aston Villa. He's brought in everybody. He's tried to restructure the medical department. We had George Scott, who'd been there for 20 years. Now, I'm not going to say that the medical stuff has been great, but George Scott turned around and he had a massive argument with what's his name, with Angepostecoglou about the training methods, and he left. And now we got a new guy in. Now what's happened? It's got even worse. He's restructured. He's got rid of the data department. He brought in the data. That hasn't worked. He's restructured the way we bring in players. That hasn't worked, right? And this guy is sitting there at the top of the pyramid, ahead of Langs, who also, in my opinion, I mean, why reinvent the wheel? Levy finally stumbled, like he stumbled upon Pochettino, like he stumbled upon Dele Alli and Harry Kane. He stumbled upon Fabio, and he changed his club around with some of the signings that he made. And what did he do? He undone all the infrastructure that he'd brought in through the youth, the academy. He ripped up all of that, brought in the players. And who's undone it all? Scott Munn, Lange. Now where do we find ourselves? Academy results aren't as good. Medical's up into shit. Our recruitment's up to shit. And this guy sits there with hardly anyone questioning what he's doing.
I agree with you. I think, look, I've said all along, I think the whole thing is a shit show. And by the way, I don't subscribe to the theory that if you think one person's shit, it means that you're letting others off the hook. I think they're all shit. I can't say this enough. There's a big cake and there's a nice big piece to go around for everyone. I think Daniel Levy is just a horrendous football owner. I'm not saying he's a horrendous businessman. He's a horrendous football. For the football, he's horrendous. Scott Munn, again, how long has he been at this club? I've not seen anything that we can turn around and
you
go.
Have. He's what I'm trying to say, Savva, he's come in and he's tried to restructure everything at Tottenham, the medical department, the recruitment department. Has
I know
it
what I'm
worked?
saying, Johnny, is
Yeah.
I've not seen him do anything that makes me go, oh, that's good. You're doing X,
Yeah.
Y, Z. I've not seen anything on a positive trend. Lang, I've seen absolutely nothing from this guy that makes me think this is our guy. And Ange, unfortunately, guys, this is the problem. People say, oh, managers get the blame. Well, look, this has been the way of football, Brian, right? For however many years you've been alive. Unfortunately, owners don't change hands every season. Managers are paid to get results. And I wanted to bring this up to show you guys something. So I feel like a sneeze is coming. You know, when it's there, but it's not. And I've got such a big nose that no one needs to hear this. If I look
you're
at
in a different league when it comes to noses with us up here, so don't even go.
mate, listen,
straight that way.
Oh, can you add the set piece coach? Can you add the set piece coach that he got rid of, Ange?
Yeah. Look, it's all a mess. Look, I want to show everyone here, right? By the way, so I always use Bournemouth as the barometer because this is a club where we actually went to in the summer, guys, and took their best player. We went to Bournemouth, signed their best player for 60, 65, 50, whatever it was with add-ons, all that nonsense, right? This is a club that lost their best player. No crying like our fans. Oh, but Kane left 18 months ago. All right, cool. You move on. You do what you got. These guys played on. Now, this is the 11 that played against Newcastle, right? This is the 11 that played against Newcastle. And I'll say it again. I'm going to show you their bench. Actually, let me start.
Hang on. Sav, what about all the players that are missing there? Their striker's missing and about 8 others.
He's getting that, Johnny.
I'm getting there, Johnny. I'm getting there. So
listen,
when we
Johnny,
get here, right?
you've got your name on a microphone now.
That's my son. That's my son. My son bought that for me. I can't.
Looking sharp, mate. Looking sharp, brother.
I can't not use it.
So, guys, when you look here, if we look at all the ones with a little, I just want to see how big that comes up on the screen. Big enough. If we look here at Bournemouth, and the reason we're using them as the benchmark is because they're a smaller club with a smaller budget, tiny stadium, don't have the revenue we have, right? The manager's been there, if I'm not wrong, the exact amount of time that Angepostecoglou's been
training in a park, get dressed in a porter cabin.
Right, exactly. So when we look here, right, if we scroll down, you can see at the moment they are missing Tavernier. I've done it again. Tavernier, Sinisterra, Evan Nielsen, Unal. By the way, this is their 2 centre forwards. They're missing Alex Scott, Senesi at the back, Araujo at the back, Adam Smith at the back, James Hill. They're missing 10 players there. They're missing 10 footballers, right? Their bench against Newcastle, when we complain about ours, was Daniel Adu-Aji, Zane Silcott-Dewberry, Maxwell Kinsey-Wellings, Matai Akinboni, Mark Travers, and Callan McKenna, right? The other 3 on the bench were Remy Rees-Dottin, Ben Winterburn, and Daniel Jebberson. And then this 11 is the 11 that played. Now, I don't want to be revisionist and go, oh, it was one game. This Bournemouth team, with all these injuries, have not lost in the Premier League for 11 games. In that same time frame, Spurs have taken 5 points, right? They've not lost for 11 games, right? Their team here, this is my point, Johnny. Sorry for the long-winded thing, Johnny Bryan, but this is my point here. If I had said to anybody at all during the summer window, right, Tottenham are going to sign Kepa. He's rubbish. He's dreadful. We're going to sign Zabanyi, Houston, the 19-year-old centre-back. Kirkes. Look at our fans already. Fans going, he's nothing on a doggy. Cook, who is a centre mid playing at right back. We're going to sign Tyler Adams from Leeds or Christie from Scotland. We're going to sign Brooks.
Who's just come back from cancer.
Right. Brooks, fair play to him. Quality story, that.
Unbelievable
Cliver,
story.
Ouattara, Semenyo. If I had said to anyone in the summer, that's going to be the 11 near enough that goes 11 games unbeaten, and I want them at Tottenham, please be honest with me, guys. How many of our fans would have said, quality team? quality 11 players there. And that's the difference for me between a coach who can get the best out of his team and what we've got. So I'm not excusing Lang. I'm not excusing Levy. I'm not excusing Munn. I'm not excusing the medical team. But Bournemouth are in a dire position with their players and are 11 unbeaten. Why? Why can they do it and Ange can't?
Go on, Johnny.
I was just going to say, do you hear him moan once? Do you hear him moan? I'm glad you used this one, Savva, because I've been banging the Iriola drum for such a long time now. And the joke is that since I've been banging the drum, his injury crisis has got worse and worse, and his results have got better and better. You know why? Because he does something called adapt, right? He does something called in-game management. In-game management, yeah. Something that Ange... Listen, if we were 1-0 up in the crucial game with 1 minute to go, he'd still be saying, get the ball up the field, get the ball up the field, right? Yep. I mean, it's look, I cannot listen to the injury story anymore, right? You know, the fact of the matter is he had it at Celtic, but it only lasted 6 months. Why did it only last 6 months at Celtic? Because at Celtic, you play Rangers, you play Aberdeen, and then you're playing Partick Thistle, right? The drop-off is huge. In the Premier League, there is no drop-off. Every game is hard, even when you play Southampton, our only win in 10 games. I mean, listen, we have won 9 games in the last 9 months, of which one of them was against Southampton. So all you anthropologists out there, right, ange-sexuals, you know, please try and explain that to me, because this isn't... You talk about it like it's a blip. I actually was one of the people, and I put my hand up, you know, when we lost to Chelsea and we lost all the players. I said, wait till we get all our team back. Judge us when our players come back. Then I will have a fair yardstick to which to judge us by. And it was embarrassing because the players came back and we lost another 7 games. So for me, it's not about anything other than, you know, a whole period of time. And if you can tell me, as a fan, all you look for in a manager is seeds of progression. And after 19 months, what we have is regression. We do not have progression. If you can see progression, then honestly, I don't know what you're looking at, because that's all I see, regression.
Well, look, before I bring in Brian, like, I completely agree with you. Before I bring in Brian, I just want to address this. I like it when people use this as a barometer.
There we go.
So first of all, when we're saying, are Bournemouth in 4 competitions like Spurs? Well, first and foremost, Bournemouth are in the FA Cup. Bournemouth are in the Premier League, right? Second of all, right, are Bournemouth in Europe? No, they're not. But Spurs haven't played a European game for 6 weeks now, right? So this whole notion that, well, we're in 4 competitions. We haven't played in Europe for 6. If I'm not wrong, guys, wasn't it Rangers on like the 10th or the 11th of December, something like that?
Yeah, I was there. I was just going to say, just to add to that, to this Bournemouth nonsense, right? We finished now. We only played 41 games last season, the least amount for years and years and years. Right. And yet, what happened to us? What happened to us then? Why was our form shit then? What was the excuse for that one?
No, absolutely. And the key thing I was going to mention here is Johnny is bang on the money. People have to stop talking about this, Brian, like it's a blip. This has been 15 months, and I'm going to bring up that data. Of course I am. But by the way, we finished this now. Sorry, in the last 6 weeks where Spurs haven't played a European game, what's the excuse? What is the excuse? Because by the way, in Europe, let's do this. So let's do this, guys. In Europe,
I need to add on to this after you finished your...
Yeah, make sure. But in Europe, wholesale changes against Karabag, wholesale changes against Ferencvaros, wholesale changes against Alkmaar, wholesale changes against Galatasaray, right? So when we're saying, do they play in 4 competitions? Well, hang on. We haven't been putting out a first 11 in all our European games. This is revisionism. We didn't put out a first 11 against Coventry in the League Cup. We didn't put our first 11 out, against Tamworth. So when we're talking about are they in 4 competitions, again, look how we belittle other clubs that are managing a situation better than Tottenham can. Oh, but they're not in 4 competitions. They've got 10 injuries and are 11 unbeaten. We finished this now. Sorry, Brian, go on, mate.
Yeah, no. But see, I'm going to kind of use when people are doing comparisons. I've over the last few weeks, I've been watching and I've been looking, and people say, "Is it a fair comparison?" I say to people, just look at Nottingham. If you want to talk about fair comparisons, look where Nottingham Forest are compared to us now. Nottingham Forest, who were out of the Premier League for 27 years without Premier League money. Look at Nottingham Forest now, who at 27 years didn't have European football. Look at Nottingham Forest, who didn't have 27 years of TV money. Look at Nottingham Forest, who haven't got a game-changing stadium that have concert events, blah, 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 blah. Look at Nottingham Forest that haven't had to sell star players, or when they do it's Brennan Johnson to us. Look at Nottingham Forest, who have been in the Premier League 3 seasons, 2 of them relegation battles, 1 with a point deduction. And now they're challenging for a title or maybe European, or definitely European football. Is that a fair comparison? Should Nottingham Forest be where they are with all the things that I've just labelled? But they're there. If you look at things now, Bournemouth are doing incredible. This is where we are now. We can't even praise a team doing well. A team like Bournemouth,
we belittle everyone. We belittle everyone, Brian.
I love it in the Premier League when teams like Blackpool came up, or Swindon back in the day, because it's these small teams that come into the big time, and it's like, you know what? They've made it there for the first time. What an incredible... Brentford, when they did it. Brentford are doing better than us. They haven't had everything. Should Bournemouth, Brentford be above us?
Fulham.
We just...
Didn't Fulham just lose Paulinho? They lost Paulinho and Tosin.
Oh, hang on. And their striker.
Aston Villa were relegated. Aston Villa were almost bankrupt.
Yeah.
But what we do is anyone that's doing better than us, rather than going, do you know what? Fair play to Bournemouth. Fair play. And also, Kate Darling, Nottingham Forest, everywhere Nuno's gone, he's had the same assistant manager, apart from one club.
Yeah,
Guess what that club is? Well, the coincidence, this is where we've come now. Rather than saying, you know what? But Bournemouth is an incredible story. And every time I talk about Bournemouth, I'm like, you have to remember the capability of Bournemouth. Their entire stadium is smaller than our South Stand.
Right.
Doesn't pump the revenue in that we do. Doesn't get... And that's what we've become now. When we're so low, it's like, rather than looking at what we're doing and going, this is unacceptable at Tottenham, it's like, oh no, but Bournemouth, look at Bournemouth there. This is a freak season, or look what they're doing. Look at their injury. They're not in 4... There's always an excuse. Rather than say, bloody well done, Bournemouth. Well done for holding your own and doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Rather than saying, we just belittle. We just belittle and bitch. Rather than say we're shit and we don't accept it, we'll go, yeah, well, look at these. They're not as big as Tottenham in stature. Let's break their season down. And it's ridiculous.
Do you know what? Do you know what, guys? Sorry, I've got to say this, right? I've got to say this. Every now and then, guys, you know me. I look at my comments and I like to prove people wrong. So, first of all, this comment isn't one, but I mean, JS, no one should be talking about Bournemouth finishing in the top in 5th. They shouldn't. Like, Bournemouth have a low budget. They lose their best players every season. They've got a tiny stadium. The fact that they're up there screams volumes, right? By the way, JS again saying Conte Mourinho, the common denominator is Levy. Conte Mourinho didn't have us 15th in the table. They didn't have us bottom of so many different charts. Now, this is the guy I want to prove wrong this. First of all, hang on, guys. Matt said, can I ask why do you hardly have people on who disagree and challenge you? Matt, I ask and I
Savva
ask.
and I disagree about loads of things.
Yeah. And I ask and I ask and I ask, Matt. When I ask these people to come on, they don't want to come on, right? When I put out my debate show every week, come on, anybody who disagrees with me, they don't want to come on, right? Matt, I'm going to do it right now. Come on. Come on, Matt. You're sitting here right now going, why don't you have anyone that challenges me? Come on. The floor is yours. Come on and debate me. But you know the difference is, Matt, why these people won't come on? Because the facts, they can't refute the facts. They're going to be talking with feelings. And then we've got people like you, Matt, that say this. The negativity is toxic, right? Matt, I'm going to, again, fans like you are toxic. I'm going to call you out. I know everyone on my chat, Brian will tell me off afterwards for this. You're toxic because you're watching what's happening to this football club that I've supported for 40 years and going, it's all good. Don't worry, guys. We just need to sort the league form out. Look at this. How am I toxic and negative? It is there. The data is there. The last 50 games, that is absolutely shambolic. If I removed, Brian, the Spurs logo, Brian and Johnny, if I removed the Spurs logo from that and said this was the last 50 games for Wolves, right? This was the last 50 games for Everton, right? For Palace, you go maybe, right?
Yep.
Just because Matt doesn't understand football, look at this. The last 50 games under the manager that you praise, Matt, we are joint bottom for clean sheets, right? We are 14th out of 17 teams for goals conceded. There's only 2 teams with a worse number of defeats than us over 50 games. This is not toxic. This is not negative. These are the facts, Matt. And people like you bury your head in the sand, call people like me negative because I call out the truth.
Yep.
Go and watch one of those channels where they're going to blow smoke up your ass and they're so scared of alienating their audience, they won't say anything true.
Can I just
Are
say...
we fighting for trophies? Sorry, mate. Are we fighting for trophies, right? You mean we're in a semi-final of the League Cup? That's what you mean, right? We can't be fighting for multiple trophies because the FA Cup, we've just scraped past Tamworth, and the Europa League, we're not even in the top 8 of the table.
And can I just
Matt,
add to that? Can I just add to that?
Hang on, 1 second. Let me finish this off, Johnny. Sorry, 1 second. So, Matt, come on. Don't give it the bigger, mate. I won't have anyone on that challenges me. Come on to my show, yeah, and let's see your balls. We all know you're going to shit your little pants in your mum's basement. Sorry. I hate
can I just add to that, Matt? Can I just add to that? The only reason we are even in the Carabao Cup is by default. Let me tell you why. Because certain Jed Spence, who he left out the Europa squad, who he didn't even start in the Carabao Cup against Coventry, he only came on as a left back, not even in the right back in his proper position because of an injury to Destiny, and scored a goal in the 87th minute to save his blushes against the team that was suffering from relegation. Otherwise, we wouldn't even be having a conversation about being in the Carabao Cup. Let us know. We went out to Fulham on penalties. We would have gone out to Coventry. We would have gone out to Coventry. The finishing was absolutely horrendous. And what about Tamworth? Don't tell me your heart wasn't in your mouth in the 89th minute when that ball came across and he fucking nearly toe poked it into the back of the net, and humiliation and the first defeat to a non-league team since 1913. So come on, guys, come on. You know,
No, I will add to that. Listen, one part I do agree with Matt is we all want trophies, and I've said I said at the beginning of the season I don't give a monkey's where we finish in the league. We're not getting Europe or top 4, so I don't even want that over trophies. But to say that
this is where we disagree, Brian.
I can understand that. That's where you and I disagree. This is where you and I agree now, and we've said it is, you know what, winning the trophy now could be the biggest setback in this bloody club's history, because literally it'll go, oh look, I can do things this way, we'll carry on. I want that. I'd love to win a trophy over top. I'd love it, but the thing is, when people say this, we're in multiple. Arsenal can't win a trophy this year apart from the Premier League because they're out. The Champions League they're still in and flying. Just because you're in it doesn't mean we've got more chance. We've got more chance of winning than the teams that are out. But you have to remember, Matt. Currently, we're in 3 cups, and technically we could be out of 2 of them in 2 games. Like literally back to back. I don't mean 2 games, lose 1. They're back to back. We go to Anfield. with a 1-0 lead where we've won 4 times in 94 years. And then we go to Villa Park. So everyone's saying we've got more chance of winning trophies. Come the end of the first week of February, we could be completely, totally down to 1. And I get, like I said, when I first, Savva, did I not? When I first came on, I said, it's all good. Well, and I love it. Or people can have that positivity and want their club to do incredibly well and be super positive and think the grass is always green there. But when you then flip the coin or look at the stats that you show in the evidence, 1 win in 10, Ipswich have lost more than us, even though less than us, even though they hadn't won a game since the 10th of November, which ironically was to us. Palace have lost more games. We've lost more. These stats, the points, exactly everything. This isn't. I have been one of Angie's biggest supporters, and it was only after the Arsenal game that I was like, right, this is it. I cannot stand by it anymore. The club is in freefall. The club on the pitch, off the pitch. The only place it's growing is commercially. It doesn't matter where you look at this, Matt. We are listen, but okay, Matt. Listen, you're trying to. You didn't want to come on because you have social anxieties. Listen, mate. For a guy that does a lot of work with mental health, something like that.
But then maybe don't goad your host. Then if you want to play that card, don't keep saying really ridiculous shit where you're going to be. I will shit on people. You know I will. This is my show. This is my style of YouTubing. And dude, please stop saying we're fighting for the Europa. We haven't won in the Europa League for 3 games, right? And when you're saying we just need to sort the league form out, it's been 15. I can't keep showing you this, Matt. I can't. Matt, this is not a lie. Look at this. This is not, Johnny was spot on. This is not a blip for a month. This is 15 months of shit.
Come on, this is AI, mate. This is AI.
What I will add to this with Matt is he just said we're fighting for the Europa. I wouldn't. It's the words you're using. If we'd won 5 games out of 6, or we've been at the top of the table, you'd be like, do you know what? You've got some. We are fine. We're topping that table. We're clearly into the next round. We avoid the playoffs. We're into the knockout stages. There's something to grasp on, and that might be the right word. Right at the moment, we're challenging for the Europa. We're out of the top 8 as it currently stands, as we speak right now.
Played shit teams.
Yeah, we were flying from the first 3. The fight, even if you said that after the first 3, you might have had a case. But then the next 3, look at that. We're now 9th in it.
If we're fighting for the Europa, Brian, sorry, so are those 8 above us.
Yeah.
So are 11 points. So are all of those teams down to 6 points are fighting for the Europa. He's making it sound like we're the only team that are fighting for the Europa League. There's 30 odd teams that can still win it. Like, what is this nonsense?
I'm going to say this last one with Matt, and then I'm going to have to go because I've got to make a phone call to my parents. He's just said United have been poor for years and they've won trophies. We haven't won in almost 20 years. Yep. So, right, when you say beggars can't be choosers, if Ten Hag had done what he did at Man U for us, he would go down as our most successful manager in recent history. He goes down as one of their worst. Manchester United have, whether you like the Glazers or not, for years and years since the Ferguson era, and then obviously the Busby, they have a winning culture, a history of success. Their fans don't just crave success, they demand it. They've sacked a manager who's won a Carabao Cup, an FA Cup, a Champions League finish, and a Europa League finish. If he was at Tottenham, he would be lauded as a god. He'd be he would be up there with Berkinshaw and Bill Nick as the most successful managers of all time in Tottenham's history. There's different levels to this. United, they've sacked their manager now because they demand better. They demand, but they weren't as low as us. Oh no, they were. Sorry, my bad. They were in the league, but they back managers with money. They give their manager time. You can't. If you're going to compare Manchester United with Tottenham Hotspur, then you're on a cruise into a bruising, because United, look what they do for change. Their supporters, look what those fans, even though most of them live in London or whatever, when we all joke about it, Manchester United absolutely demand success. And if you don't deliver it, you're gone.
Yeah.
Whereas here, you just got to qualify for Europe. You just got to qualify for Europe, or at the moment, do anything. We are in a really, really bad place. And it's the ownership, it's the management, it's the players. This has been a thing at Tottenham Hotspur for a very, very long time.
But just quickly, before you go, Brian, again, this is revisionism from where the club was when he took over. He didn't take us over in the bottom half, mate. When Conte left, Tottenham were fourth. And then we had that shambolic spell of 5 or 6 games under Mason, 5 or 6 games under Stellini. But JS, you're making it sound like he's picked up a club that have finished bottom half for 10 years. Spurs hadn't finished bottom half for about, I mean, is it 13 years? 15 years?
Last time around that.
Do you know what I mean? So again, these people that just say these silly things like, where would I expect us to be? Not 15th. I'll tell you where I'd expect us to be. And I'll tell you what, right, JS, this is what makes me laugh. I got absolute dog's abuse for this. I got dog's abuse. This is where I said we'd be, 7th, right? And you and many others probably in the chat abuse the hell out of me. You think we're going to be behind Villa and Chelsea? They're shit. They've had shit summer windows. They're managers. Maresca, Unai Emery, these are shit managers. Both these clubs are 12 to 15 points above Tottenham Hotspur, right? So all of this revisionism of where would you expect Spurs to be, I said 7th. I didn't even go crazy. Most of these YouTubers out here were doing videos about finishing 3rd and 4th.
I would say...
Right, sorry, Johnny, before you speak, I have got to go and make a call to my parents. Everyone have a very, very good day. Savva, we'll obviously talk later. Johnny, we'll talk later.
Brian, good luck.
If I'm up at 2 o'clock in the morning, you ever need company, I'll drop you a message, buddy. Everyone in the chat, have a great day.
What time is it there, Brian?
It is now 6:45.
6:45.
And I've been with Savva since about 5:20 because I said to Savva, I'll wake up. Mate, I woke up at 5:05. No alarm, no nothing. My body knew it was time for Savalicious time. So I'm going to leave Savalicious and Johnny H 3232. Have a great day, everyone. And as always, Levy.
See you later, buddy. Take care.
Let me bring you in, Johnny, just quickly before I do. Guys and girls, we're having a great old energetic session this morning, but only 274 likes from 674 people, which is really disappointing. And guys, on the subscriber front, come on, we've had 2 subscribers from nearly 700 people this morning. Guys, look, we are chasing down the 16K. We are 167 away. Let's get a few of you smashing that button. And as Natey said, yeah, we're closing in on 1 month. From 15K to 16K. The target I wanted to hit in December was to get to 15, and the target by the end of January was 16. So we can do it. We can do it.
I'm trying to get to 1,000.
We'll get you there, mate. You'll get there. It's just consistency. Again, look. Have you noticed all the people have got the same arguments? Tell you what, JS, Johnny, I'm going to bring you in here, Johnny. Yeah. Fulham lost Mitrovic. Yeah? Fulham lost Mitrovic. They're 9 points above us in the league. Right? Paulinho. Right? Fulham also lost Tosin Adarabioyo. Right? Yeah. They're 9 points clear of us. Bournemouth lost Dominic Solanke to us. They're 13 points clear of us. This whole Harry Kane, right? This whole Harry Kane thing is ridiculous. And Matt, right? Again, Matt, don't lie. Don't put words in my mouth, right? Don't put words in my mouth, because for someone who's just claimed anxiety, you're being a prick. I'm going to call you out for it. Savva said we should finish 7th and win a cup.
That's not what he said.
It's not an either or. Sorry, Johnny, I'm getting excitable. I just don't get idiots like this that lie. I don't get it.
Listen, look, at the end of the day, Matt, we all want to win trophies, but we also want to be competitive in the league, right? So we'd rather not have the either or, okay? We'd rather have both. You know, why can't we finish, in a decent league position and win a trophy? What I was saying to you before is that, Jed Spence, who he didn't want to use, who he kept saying, I've got no players to rotate, came in and saved his ass, right? And then how was he rewarded after saving his ass? He was dropped, never got seen again for weeks.
Right.
And now he's back saving his ass yet again. But look, the thing is, if he wins a trophy, he gets a stay of execution. It's as simple as that, Ange. And everyone will hail him. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say, really. If you can't see that it's a shit show right at the moment, I'm a person that goes home and away to a vast majority of the games, and I get called not a true fan because I'm not happy with what's going on at the moment. I decided I wasn't going to go to Hoffenheim, and I'm glad in a way. Let me tell you something. Hoffenheim makes Southampton look like prime Barcelona. So if they don't win tonight, I expect us to beat Hoffenheim and Leicester, because as bad as we are, we're not as bad as those two teams. We're really not, even with players missing. I expect 2 convincing wins, and I expect us to beat the other team we've got next week in the Europa League. But then we got Liverpool, and that's going to be the true test. Liverpool and Villa, for me, are the true tests. If we come through it, great. We're great. But what we'll hear is if we get through and we lose the final, he got us to a final where there's many managers we know got sacked on the eve of a final, better managers than him. And as Savva's told you many, many times, and Brian mentioned before, greater managers with far better results have been sacked from this football club than Angepostecoglou. It's as simple as that. And on top of that, have had far less investment than any of those managers. I'll tell you something, right? I don't know, we brought him up already. If you gave Pochettino this squad, he would absolutely love it. The chance to work with the kids. Look how many England internationals Southampton had when he was the manager. Look how many England internationals Spurs had. Even Harry Winks was getting an England cap, right? That's how well he had this team playing, right? He thrives with youth. Look what he did with Chelsea. He turned it around, the shit show, and got them to playing. If you look at Pochettino's record from January and look at Ange's record from January to when he left, there's no comparison. There's no comparison. And this was him apparently doing a shit job.
What I don't get, Johnny, is I would understand it if we were sitting here 5th or 6th, in all the trophies, hadn't won 1 in 10. By the way, that one win was against the worst Premier League team of all time, correct, statistically. I could understand people going, "You're toxic, you're negative, we need to get together." But it's all the comments like, we're just in a bad spell. We're not. It's been 15 months. The problem is, Johnny, every now and then we pull a 4-0 against Man City or Villa, and people go, "There you go. That's what we are." But we're not. The sum is greater than its parts, right? And for me, when you actually look, those wins are few and far between. That tells you that they're anomalies. That's not who we are. Who we are is what the actual form has been for 15 months. And we're at the stage where I never thought I'd see it with a manager with a 1.09 point per game ratio. 1.09. And fans are backing him.
You know what's amazing? I mean, listen, I was at Old Trafford for the Man United game. I couldn't believe, as much as I enjoyed the night out, the day out, should I say, and the night, because it took so long to get back, I'd never seen such a bad Man United team. I've never seen such a bad Man City team. I'm not trying to detract from the victory, because a victory is a victory, and the record books would just show the result. But Man City are in absolute freefall, right? They're in a terrible, terrible position right now. I don't know what's happened, but they have fallen off a cliff. They say one man don't make a team, but take Rodri out. So we've beaten the teams we have beaten, the West Hams, the Man Uniteds, the Man Cities, the Southamptons. They're just 4 of the 9 games we've won in the 9 months. It's absolutely shocking. It's absolutely shocking. You know, when you just say it, like,
and three of them have sacked their manager, Johnny, for how bad they were.
correct.
The only one that hasn't was Man City.
And I've got to tell you, you know, I don't believe in this thing where you have to have a team of Galacticos. It's about building a team spirit, okay? Look at Leicester. You know, how many world-class individuals did Leicester have in that team? I don't believe they had any world-class individuals. What they had was an unbeatable team spirit, unity, and a belief through the manager. Through the manager, yeah? The manager inspired them to perform way above their station and way above what was expected of them. And everyone expected them to fail, but they kept the belief. And, you know, I don't believe our team with a top manager, this squad with a good manager, would be anywhere near the position we are currently in, even with the injuries. And let me tell you, the injuries wouldn't happen because they wouldn't be having to do ridiculous recovery runs like Mickey van der Ven, like Porro, like Destiny. I could go on, right? Most of these injuries are through recovery runs because of the pressure and the workload that's expected. And if you couple that with what's expected in the intense training that Ange Postecoglou does, it's an accident waiting to happen. So it's self-inflicted.
Do you know what, Johnny? Absolutely spot on. By the way, I'm going to put a link in the chat before I carry on. This is to Johnny and Sean's new channel, Football Inc. Please go and subscribe. You know, I'm a big fan of subscribing to everyone. I think it's really, really important that we show each other, you know, some love and respect, because trust me, starting a YouTube channel is tough. People think you just press play. You really don't. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that goes into it. Look, Johnny, I'll leave this up there for a minute so people can see. I think just to
say that Football Inc. is like, there's a lot of really good Spurs channels out there, which obviously Savva's is right up there. Football heritage growing quickly. But Football Inc. is just basically, we're here to talk about football finance, transfers, VAR, games, contentious issues, anything and everything football. So please get down, show some love down there, and hit the subscribe button. And we'll be starting to do some live soon. At the moment, with just some pre-record videos and transfers. So thanks for that, Savva, for popping that up.
No worries. Well, listen, you've just got 11 new subscribers, guys. If we get another 19, we can get that channel up to 600 already. So let's do that. Smash that button, people. Show the love. Big up to Sean wherever he is as well. Johnny, I only want to go for another 7 or 8 minutes to take to midday. I'm live at 4, and that's going to be a good 4.5, 5 hours, depending if Spurs win or not. Look, the key thing for me, and I've completely forgot everything I was going to say. The key thing for me here, right, is, as you said, this isn't a case of we're just in a bad spell. I see this a lot, and the injuries for me, I think, have actually saved his Tottenham career rather than it being the reason why. Does that make sense? I feel like
100%.
The injuries have taken away from how bad he was doing before the injuries, if that makes sense.
Correct.
And 9 wins in 9 months is utter shambolic. What's got me even more concerned about this is, I was speaking to my mate, and my mate works for Chelsea as a coach, and he's been in coaching for years. He's worked for 3 or 4 Premier League teams, and I was speaking to him a while back, and I spoke to him yesterday as well. And a while back, I just sort of said to him, "Look, what do you think of Ange?" And he said, "Look, he said we talk about Spurs quite a lot in our coaching circles," and he said, "You know, we all think it's just absolutely bonkers. Like it's a crazy, crazy system that you're either a genius or you're just really bad at your job." And he said, "We'll see." I spoke to him again yesterday. That was 3 months ago. I spoke to him first time. Spoke to him again yesterday. And I said, "Mate, what we saying? What do you reckon?" And he went, "Look," he said, "anybody that understands football from a tactical standpoint will understand how poor tactically this manager is." He said, "Everybody can see it. There's no one out there going, 'Oh, I really like the way Spurs play.' The only people that like Spurs," he said, "are the ones where we like watching your games because they're very exciting from a neutral point of view, because you're so wide open." But he said, fans that don't understand tactics really seem to like him. Fans that look at this and go, well, hang on, we're wide open. We can't defend. Look at the gaps. Look at the transitions. Look at the, look at the triangles, right? These fans that look at that, I'm one of them. I love looking at that sort of stuff. I look at it and go, you're an awful football coach. Fans who just go, oh, we love Spurs, this being the prime example, this guy doesn't understand tactics to save his life, right? They love it. They love it. But tactically, Johnny, strip this back. Forget that we're Spurs fans. Tactically, watch Tottenham Hotspur. It is a shambles. No matter whether Romero and Van de Ven play and Udogie plays, whether they play or whether it's this lot, we are shambolic to watch.
Look, the thing is, this system exposes everyone. I mean, if you sit there, I look at a coach and say, well, who has he brought forward? Who has he improved? You look at Pochettino, you can say he brought this player through. He's improved this one. He's improved that one. If you're going to say to me he's improved Kulu, I will say to you, Kulu stated when he arrived that he wants to play in the middle. Playing out on the right-hand side was never going to be a thing. And I said right at the beginning, you can't have Kulu when Ange came in. You can't have Kulu playing on the right. I don't understand. It's made players look infinitely worse. It's exposed them time and time again. And what sort of system do you employ that only the speed of a leopard in Mickey van der Ven can save your ass game after game after game? And if you take him out of the equation, you've got nothing.
I'm sorry, I'm just messaging Lubo. I'm sitting the show in a minute. Yeah, look, I completely agree with you. If you've got a tactic that revolves around one defender being quick, it's not really a tactic. Matt said, I love this guy. This guy's absolutely brilliant. How has Ange won everywhere else if he's so bad? Yes, the leagues are easier, but he still has had to deliver. Sure, but you're in the big boy league now, Matt. You're in the big boy league. You know, when you're playing teams like Everton at the back, Everton will defend better than any team in that Scottish Premiership will. Look how they defended against us at the weekend. Look how well they sat in and countered us. Yeah, these teams aren't the teams in the Scottish.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying before. You know, when you're playing Rangers and Aberdeen, yeah, okay, but then you're playing Partick Thistle, Wraith Rovers. You know, the drop off is huge. There is no drop off in the Premier League. Even Southampton, as bad as they are, you know, under a new coach, is trying to give teams a game. You know, there is really no drop off. It's what makes the Premier League the most exciting league in the world, because it's so competitive and because it's so unpredictable. And you have to be on your game, because if you're off it, I mean, look at Ipswich. We rested players, and Postecoglou rested players in Europe so they'd all be fit for Ipswich. And we got played off the park, right?
Right.
The same with Palace. You know, come on, guys, please. You know, no one wants to be, Savva and I aren't sitting here relishing the position we're in. We're not joyous. I would rather be sat here with Savva today, rejoicing at the fact that we can rest and play a whole bunch of kids today in Europe, because we've already qualified in the top 8. Okay, we're going into the league and in a great position, but we're not. We're not. The only shining light right now, to be honest, is the semi-final against Liverpool. You know, I'm looking forward to the journey up. I'm not sure what state I'll be in the journey home.
Mate, look, absolutely. Look, the key thing I'll say is here, I see videos made about people like me, right? And that's fine. People can say what they want about me. I've been right. That's all I'll say to them. I've been right. I'm going to do that now, right? People make videos about me going, fans like Savva are rejoicing in how bad we are. If I was rejoicing in it, why do I want the manager sacked?
Yeah.
If I'm rejoicing in this, Johnny, if I enjoy it, keep him. Keep him. I'm not rejoicing in this. I find this funny at this stage. I find it funny that we're seeing how bad we are, and there are still football fans. I'm going to say it now. Anyone that wants this manager doesn't understand football. I'm just going to put that out there right now. They don't understand, right? And look, he's got to win tonight. He's got to win tonight for me. If he doesn't win tonight, Johnny, that's 1 win in 10 in the Premier League and no wins in 4 in the Europa League. He's got to win. We're getting to the stage now where we're starting to have form like Wolves. Sorry, Wolves have got better form than us. We're in the same form as Southampton and Leicester and Ipswich. Like, he's got to win tonight, hasn't he, John? He's got to.
I can't see how he can't. Honestly, they are such a bad team. Listen, when your own Kramanic, is it, turns around and says the team are shit and I'm being kind. He said, if I said any more, it would be the greatest rant in Bundesliga history. And that was after they got humped 5-0 by Bayern Munich, and it should have been a lot more. The fans have done, their fans have rallied against the owners more so than ours have ever done. So, yeah, listen, I expect to win tonight. No excuses. I expect to beat Leicester. I'm not even... No doubt they'll be rejoicing and the angepostecoglou will be out in full. See, look at him. Look, he's delivered in Europe. He's beaten Leicester. We're back on the road.
They'll go crazy. Again, my mate Matt is absolutely brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant, my mate Matt, in the chat. Last season with our fit squad, we finished 5th. I mean, last season, this is when it all started. This terrible 15 months started last season, by the way. Don't make out like we were good. From November to May, we were horrific. And it's continued. Everyone told me. The funny thing is, people like this told me last year, Johnny, Savva, see what he does when he goes into this season. Last year was tough. Second season. He continued this season in the same way he ended last. Before our players were injured. It was the worst start we'd had to a Premier League season for 17 years. And still the excuses came. Now the recruitment has left Ange out to dry. Matt, where did you predict we'd finish? Where did you predict we'd finish? I just find it absolutely... Matt said, why do you never talk about how poor the recruitment? I always talk about how poor the recruitment was. Matt, let me explain something to you because you're not very bright. The first thing you said when you came on, you mugged yourself off by giving it the big un, and then I put you in your place and you won't come on because of anxiety, which is fine, but you give it the big un in the chat for someone who's anxious, right? I've said a number of times, I was the one, Johnny knew me in the summer, going, shit window again. I wasn't the one when 90% of this fucking fan base were going, we're going to finish 3rd, we're going to finish 4th, we're going to be in a title challenge. Ange does this in the second year. You guys, Matt, were the ones telling me how great he was. You guys were the ones saying, it's a youth squad, it's a youth project. This is what Ange likes. Now that hasn't happened, suddenly everything's on Levy. Well, hang on. People like me and Johnny have been telling you it's Levy for years, but you all ignored it. You all ignored it for years. Now, all of a sudden, that your cult leader has been absolutely shocking. It's the players. He's turned around and said, I'm well happy with the players. He turned around and said, did he not the other week, Johnny? I didn't want to buy any more defenders in the summer.
Right.
He didn't want more defenders. This is the guy that turned around and said publicly, I didn't want to buy leaders. I want to develop leaders. I don't want to buy them.
I want to mould players. And this is a player who didn't sign a left back and decided to kick Reguilon out of the squad. And didn't, and said Spence was no good and kicked him out, right? Out of the Europa League, having told him he was part of his project. Right. I mean, and now he says, now we're going into Europe and, they're cup tied. When he said, he utters the words that Reggie and Spence, Jed aren't with us because they're cup tied, mate. No, they're not cup tied. You fucking cup tied them.
Yeah.
Tied them. Self-harming, mate. You've said...
But again, he's got everything wrong, Johnny. He's got everything wrong. His team selections in Europe, he's got wrong. When to put the kids in away to Galatasaray, but not away to Tamwa. It's just all wrong.
We're talking about Lancashire here. Lancashire who, he throws into the cauldron, a kid into the cauldron of Galatasaray, one of the hardest, most intense atmospheres in football, but he can't play Tamworth because of the pressure. I mean,
exactly.
Come off it. It's pathetic. Pathetic.
Yeah, and Lord Rodney Trott, I think, has summed it up. The window was awful, and the squad isn't well balanced, but it's not 15. This is my point. I'm not sitting here, Rodney, saying I can't believe we're not 4th. I never thought that to begin with, but other YouTubers were. This is what makes me laugh. Other fans. And again, Johnny, sorry to bring this up, but again, when I did this in the summer, when I showed everybody 7th, most fans abused and mocked me. Can't believe you think we're going to be behind Villa and Chelsea. And there we are. And look at all the teams above us or below us in my prediction. Have a look, right? Teams that are above us right now. Newcastle, West Ham, Palace, Brighton, Fulham, Bournemouth, Forest, Brentford. I predicted all of those teams to be below us. As it stands, they're all above us. So anyway, look, I am gonna do some. Look, again, unfortunately, we're always gonna have people like Matt. We're always gonna have it. Move the table just a bit more to the right, mate. I don't know what that means. Look, I'm going to get some super chats out of the way, and then we will be live for the game at 4 p.m. today. Proximo said, Savva, you never liked Ange. You were against him from day one. That's not true. This is not true, Proximo. So anyway, the 16,000 people that follow me and subscribe to me will tell you, Proximo, that's not true. I even admitted at the beginning of the show I wanted him when he first joined. God, how wrong I got it, right? This has not been the normal season for obvious reasons. No matter if Ange goes or not, it's not all on him. Yeah, but we were shit last season as well from November. So, sorry, mate. Johnny, didn't I admit to you earlier in the stream that I actually said I wanted Ange when he first came in? Like,
yeah, you did. Listen, I've got to be honest with you. You know, like everyone who knows me knows that I was a huge, Slot fan, massive. You know, I was pumping him. I was so excited he was going to come to Spurs, and then it all fell on deaf ears. I lived up in Glasgow for a while, and I needed my football fix because I couldn't get down to London all the time. And I got friendly with a Rangers player who ended up taking me to Glasgow Rangers. So I lived up there for a number of years. And when I came down, obviously I'm massive, go back to Spurs, but Rangers obviously is a place in my heart. So when I'm watching every Old Firm derby, we're playing Celtic, and Ange is beating us and winning the treble, I never once thought, you know what? I can't believe that. What a result this is. I never thought for 1 minute that this manager, or thought of this manager coming, and it's not because he was a Celtic manager. You know, when you notice a top manager, you'd want him in. He hasn't displayed. I thought you got to give him a chance. You know, I'm not a scout. You have to give the guy a chance. And those first 10 games got everyone excited. You know, when I look back and see how pathetic we were, when all the players rushed off the pitch, off of the bench, when we scored that 97th minute winning goal to beat Sheffield United, who went on to be relegated. If we knew then, you know, that excitement was so misplaced, I just don't know where this club has fallen so far in such a short space of time. I mean, yes, Levy cut the wage bill by £30 million. But the ironic thing for me, Savva, is the players that everyone thought, well, these kids aren't going to do anything, and Spence is not going to do anything, and there must be a reason he's not playing, and the kids are not going to play, not going to get minutes. It's those three that have saved this club. If you took out Archie Gray, Bergvall, and Spence from the equation, this club is nowhere. If you think now is bad, where would we be without Archie Gray right now? Seriously, where would we be without Archie Gray? An 18-year-old number 6. I mean, honestly, it's like, you know, I worry about his development because, you know, an 18-year-old shouldn't be playing this amount of games under this amount of pressure. You know, I wonder, you know, he needs a rest at some point, but he's not going to get one. Look, we all want success. Savva wants success. I want success. We want to see good football. But right now, you know, we need to turn the corner. And these next 2 games against 2 very poor teams need to be the catalyst for us to start winning games and having a different mindset. Like they say, like, positivity breeds positivity. You know, when someone can't score a goal, confidence breeds confidence. I think we've got the opposite at the moment. I think there's, they're devoid of any confidence whatsoever. And I think it's kind of sad that after the game against Everton, I don't think it was right that the fans were booing and going as mad to Sonny, but he did take an extraordinarily long time to come over to the fans. I don't think he had that much intention of going over. And it was James Maddison, in fact, that went over to see the fans. The journeys that myself and many others make week in, week out, I don't think the people who watch on the TV or watch from afar really understand the commitment that myself and many others far greater than me make going to games. They mean going first thing in the morning, not coming back till God knows what time in the middle of the night or in the middle of the morning, and seeing dross. And when you see it over and over and over again, it gets to a point where you think, I've had enough. And then you come on shows like this and you have your say. Hey, Barrison.
You all right, Barry?
Are you still live?
Yeah. I'm ending in the next couple of minutes. Yeah.
All right. I'm all right, Johnny.
Huh?
I thought I'd put my hat on to join you two because you both got your hats on. So I thought I can't come on with no hat on, could I?
Yeah. I mean, hang on. I'm just. By the way, I'm just bringing up a few things just to shut a few people up. How are you, Barry? You all right?
Well, apart from Emerson getting hooked after 4 minutes, but I'm assuming that he was injured last night.
He was injured.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I got a few messages saying, "Oh, your boy's been hooked." So
yeah, the goat, Emma Goat. Yeah,
exactly.
Emma Goat. Where were we? Does anyone know? Okay, here we go. So, just so we're clear, right? When Ange Postecoglou signed for Tottenham Hotspur, right? I had multiple videos like this, right? I'm just going to show you. I'm not going to show you the actual video, right? But I had multiple videos like this. Can you see there on my page? There you go. You can even see the date, right? Postecoglou signed 2-year contract. Let's get behind him. And if you actually watch that video, I said, I think this is good. I think this is a breath of fresh air. I actually like this. I actually think this could be a good thing. Everyone's telling me how great he is with the kids. Everyone's telling me how much he develops players. Everyone tells me he's adaptable. And unfortunately, I was very, very, very wrong. The information I was given was wrong. And I apologized for that. But I very quickly worked out he wasn't for me. And I showed everyone the very moment that he wasn't for me. And it was this. This was the moment he wasn't for me. No manager in the history of football has ever done this. So, Barry, I mean, I was going to shut the show in the next minute or two.
You can. You still can do, Savva. You don't need to just keep me,
I mean, thanks for telling me what I can and can't do. Big up to Mr. Box Office. Look, Mr. Box Office in the house. I said, Brian, I agreed. Well, we're bad people for expecting better. Yeah, expecting more from your football club is seen as bad, but backing failure is seen as positive. What a time to be alive. Imagine if businesses were run like that. Imagine if people hired sales staff back to all the ones that didn't sell, and the ones that did sell, they sacked. Just let that sink in.
Ange. Sorry. I was just going to say, yes, Ange, our double glazing salesman. Last year he was number 5. This year he's at number 15, one off the bottom. Ange, here's your P45. Thanks very much, mate. Goodbye,
mate. I just can't stand him. But look, Mr. Box Officer said Savva did a debate show. No one turned up. Again, this person saying, why do I only have people who... I literally threw it out and said, any YouTuber can come on. Any one of these people from X. I said, didn't I? The Ben Bowmans, the Mitch Strettons, the Chris Cowlins, all of these people that make these lovely videos about how Spurs are amazing. I said, cool, come on to my channel. Nope, no one did. And then I get the blame for them not coming on. Not sure what I'm meant to do. Vineet has come in and said, why can't Ange be sacked? What's the reason? Logically, don't see a reason which shows that Ryan Mason will be worse than Ange. I agree. I'll take Mason between now and the end of the year. That's how shit Ange is. I want Sherwood in the gilet, but I'll take Mason. Big up to you, Vinny. NS has said my dream scenario is Amorim getting sacked and Spurs pick him up. I mean, Jesus,
I love the way he talks, Amorim. I love the way he talks, Amorim.
Me too. He's honest. He's
Yeah.
honest. No excuses. He's honest about it. Big up to you, Ennis. And then the last super chat I've had for the day is Vinny again, who said the way he turned on his own fans during last season's City game showed everything about a man who wants to diverge attention to non-serious issues rather than having people talk about his incompetence. Jesus, that's a sentence and a half. Just quickly before we go, guys. I mean, that is true, isn't it? Have you noticed that every time we don't win games, there's something that's the excuse rather than him coming out and going, we've been poor. I've been wrong. It always seems to be something.
I've got to big up though to Ange. So far, he hasn't used. It was the footballs. What? Where's Savva gone? Savva.
What?
He hasn't used. I said at least big up to Ange. He hasn't used the football excuse yet. The balls were different. Maybe he used that one tonight. What ball are we using? Does anyone know what type of ball we're using tonight in the Europa League?
Yeah, God knows. What I do know is that fireworks apparently were going off outside the Spurs hotel last night. That's what I'm hearing this morning. So there's today's excuse. Look, as I've said, anything, gentlemen, all I've said for the last year and a half, whatever, I'm more than happy to debate with anybody. I haven't found an Ange in fan yet that can actually present any evidence to show we're going in the right direction. Other than heart, other than feeling, I can't find anyone that can come onto my stream and say, look at this evidence to show we're like, I'm not saying we have to do this, lads. I'm not saying we have to do that. But where's the incremental progression? Where's the, like, we're not tightening up at the back. We're not better in midfield. We're not getting better in the forward line. The number of defeats is going up. The number of wins is going down. The number of goals conceded is getting worse and worse and worse. I just don't know any metric where we're getting better under this manager. And that's what no one can tell me.
Well, we're not. That's the trouble, right? And I think we've all been like with everything, right? We've all been at times. Look, it was positive. We didn't have much positivity. We had the first 10 games. Everyone thought we were winning the league. But look, everyone's had their time to do it. It's okay to say that you got it wrong, and it's okay to sit there and say that we don't want this manager anymore. Matt, I see you saying if we get a win tonight, we should be winning tonight. It shouldn't even be a discussion. We should be beating Leicester. We should have beaten the teams that we lost to, but it's not happening and something's broken. And there's only, unfortunately, this is a results business, and managers have got sacked for far less, right?
100%.
So,
100%.
And that's it, right? And now we've all got to sit there and watch tonight's game, thinking, is this going to be another one of those performances? Because if it gets to 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, we've seen it all before. These players won't be able to sit there and take this game by a scruff of neck. And what's going to happen? I know exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to predict it now. If Son plays, Son scores a hat-trick, nobody come at me and say Son is back. Please, because he is not. He is finished. And that is all I'm going to say on the matter.
Listen, Hoffenheim are probably one of the worst teams Spurs will face all season, and that includes Southampton. So there are no excuses. It's too windy. They're not used to going to Germany. The hot dogs were poor, and we had upset stomachs or any other excuses. There are no excuses. So don't even bother. We should be running out of this game at least 3-0 victory. They are shocking. They are shocking. Absolutely shocking. Even their own players are saying they're shit. So how bad can you get?
Yeah. By the way, comments like this make me laugh. Like Draven has said, I would love Ange to prove every wrong, but I don't think we'll get the chance. What do you mean? He's had the chance. The last 15 months has been absolutely horrific, Draven. Listen, I'd love Ange to prove me wrong, but he hasn't proven anything wrong. If anything, he's proven me more and more right every single time Tottenham play. And by the way, all these people saying, so we can't celebrate tonight if we win. Of course you can. I mean, I don't know. For me, I don't know what you're feeling on this, Nick, is I remember we used to We used to win games of football as a football club and go, good win, move on. Now, every time we win a game, it's a masterclass. It's the start of a run. It can never just be, yeah, we've won and move on. And I don't understand it. For me, we should be going there tonight. We should be winning. And then my immediate attention will be, right, okay, now beat Elfsborg and qualify for Europa. But do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and look, we've seen what happened. We've seen what happened in the Champions League. Man City, even if they win their final game, the potential is they're not even going to get through to the playoffs, right? And that all right, we're going to be in the playoffs, but it's 2 games. You never know, right? It could be if we don't win, we cannot afford to have 2 more games in this season with the way that we're playing. We need to win tonight, win against Elfsborg, get that done. Because if we go into that middle to second week of February with the FA Cup and the second leg of Carabao, and then we're out of all 3, then what? We got nothing. We got nothing left. We may as well just so the 8th of February, the 9th of February, that could be it. The season's done. I mean, it's already done as far as I'm concerned. But then for everyone that's saying, oh, Ange's got this, Ange will have nothing because we're not going anywhere in the league. If we finish in the top half, it'll be a miracle.
An absolute miracle at this point.
And we're out of all the cups. So look, if we've still got this manager by then and he gets to the second leg, because I think if we don't get 3 wins in the next 3, it'll be very hard. If he's still there then, February the 9th has got to be, or February the 10th has got to be D-Day. We could have a Valentine's Day, not celebrating with our loved ones. We'll have a Valentine's Day because we'll have a new manager. So because
if we have a new manager on Valentine's Day, my wife's going to have the best night of her life. I can assure you of that. She's going to have the best night of her life.
She's not, Savva. Don't try and make promises like that. You'll be screaming, mate. You know what? Spurs will do that, right? Friday the 14th of Feb, Spurs will sack their manager, and everyone that's got banned. Oh, sorry, love, Andrew's been sacked. I need to get on YouTube.
Yeah, I make what makes me laugh is right. It's people like, I love this guy's been entertaining all show. We've gone from Ange is amazing, Ange shouldn't be sacked, to it's a tough away game in Germany. So Matt, if we don't win tonight, and we're then, 1 win in 10 in the league and 4 games in a row in the Europa League without a win, are you then going to tell me at last you'll turn around and go, yeah, he's not done a good job? Hoffenheim are terrible, right? Hoffenheim have been terrible all season. There is no way we can call this a tough away day in Germany. If that's the case, yeah, maybe, just maybe, this guy shouldn't have gone weaker against Galatasaray. But maybe, just maybe, against the toughest team that he's played, he should have put his best team out there.
AZ Alkmaar, we needed a penalty to beat a poor Dutch team. Let's be serious. I mean, honestly, we've struggled. He's got a terrible, terrible history, both at Celtic and at this club in Europe. It's not good. Come on. And as for being a tough away game, come on, please don't make me laugh. Hoffenheim are 15th in the Bundesliga in absolute free fall. And as I said, the players are coming out themselves and saying they're absolute shit. The fans are marching and protesting about the owners, actually doing something about their owners, I must hasten to add. There's no excuses tonight, none.
Daniel, look, by the way, I'm going by the happy clapper mentality, Dan. I'm going by the happy clapper mentality. They want to tell me how good we are. They keep telling me that we're going to win the Europa League. Cool. Go and beat Hoffenheim easily then. Like, it doesn't make sense. And the last thing before we go, guys, this is my biggest bugbear with things like YouTube. This is my biggest bugbear, right, Johnny, is you want to say, not you, people want to say something in the summer. Then they want to completely flip 180, completely change their opinion a few months later and not be held accountable for it. Like, I'm held accountable. People like me and you, we put our face on camera every day and we speak our truth, right? The moment we get the tiniest of things wrong, You've lost. Look at what happened when I said Man City will beat Spurs. I had a video made about me for 90 minutes mocking me. Right? That's where we're at, right? Because I got one thing wrong. No one's actually going, oh yeah, but Savva got everything else right. Let's make a positive video about him. That's where we're at, right? That's where we're at. And these people, make your minds up. We're either brilliant and we're going to win the Europa League, or it's a tough game against Hoffenheim. Which one is it? Which one is it, people? Like,
I had it weekly, Savva, when I had when Brennan Johnson signed, and I thought it was a terrible signing. I thought he's not aggressive enough in the tackle. You know, he's not what we need now. He can't beat his final man. He might score goals, but he's not good enough. And I called him Brenda Johnson, right? For quite a long while. And you can imagine when the goals started going in, right? I got it. But I'm not taking back what I say. You know, a game's about 90 minutes of football, not having a moment in a game. And as we've seen time and time again, he has been poor for weeks now, you know. But at the end of the day, you have to take it. We're going to come on the channels. We have to take, you know, when we make an opinions and comments, we have to take it. At least we're consistent.
Even,
we don't
even when we've been right, Johnny, people still want to say we're wrong. It's like, I don't know what has to happen. Like, do we have to get relegated before people go, oh, you know what? You might have actually been onto something there about this god awful shit manager. Like, no, I'm not mixing my words anymore, Barry. I'm so fed up with pushing.
Barry, it's a blip. Barry,
they
say it's a blip, and as Savva and I say, we've had 9 wins in 9 months, and one of them was against Southampton, the worst team probably to be in the Premier League in decades, against the worst Manchester United team I've ever seen, and the worst Man City team probably in the last 10, 12 years. And that's 3 of them. And 2 of the, was it 2 or 3 of the clubs have had their managers sacked?
3.
3.
Southampton. Well, didn't Southampton sack their manager the day we
Straight
beat
after? Yeah.
Right.
He still had to do the press conference, didn't he? Even though he was sacked.
Yeah. West Ham. What I loved when West Ham sacked their manager. What I loved about it, guys, was it was the words from the board were, hey, he paid, like, I can't remember the exact words. It was like, he's not delivered what we set his target to be in the first 6 months. So he's gone. We got Spurs fans going, oh, don't worry about that. 15th's all right. We could win a Carabao Cup.
After 18 months.
I don't care if we win the Carabao
months.
Cup. I don't care if we win the Carabao Cup. If this manager's in charge next season, the same thing will happen. Injuries, no tactical stability. Anyone who knows football, anyone who understands football in any way, shape, or form is never watching Spurs and saying, what a well-drilled, well-organised football team. They're all laughing at us. They're all laughing at us. Exactly. West Ham have sacked their manager and worse. Since West Ham sacked their manager, Matt, you absolute donut, they've overtaken us in the league.
Yeah. They were the embarrassment. They were the embarrassment, got rid of their manager, and now we're looking at them from behind. I mean, it's like a joke. It's like a joke.
See,
I mean, Bournemouth selling us their best player for 65 million and improving and being 11. Listen, last I heard, we were 11 points off of 7th.
Can someone, while we're here, does someone want to buy my Man City ticket? Because I don't want to go to that game. So,
nah, you're all right.
Oh dear.
No,
I'm still trying to sell my Leicester tickets on the exchange.
Well, luckily I got rid of them ages ago.
Oh, no.
By the way, this has got to be the last thing. I've been saying this for half an hour. I've really got things to do before 4 p.m. Again, Matt, please don't just take one sentence. What did I caveat this with? Again, I said I don't care about the Carabao Cup if this guy is here next season, right? And again, Matt, I know you've probably supported Spurs for about a year and a half since Ange has been here. But if you actually know your Spurs history, the last 2 managers that have won Spurs a trophy, what happened to them both? Anybody?
Well, we know. I'm waiting for Matt to answer.
Yeah.
Matt, what happened? Matt, tell me I tell you what, let's see what he knows. Matt, tell me the last 2 Spurs managers. No one else in the chat. No one else in the chat say it. Last 2 Spurs managers, Matt. Tell me what happened to them immediately in the next 6 months after they won their trophy. Let's see what you know. Again, West Ham won't finish above us. They bloody well shouldn't be finishing above us. No, Matt. That shouldn't be the benchmark.
I've got to take back.
Matt, can I just say, I don't know whether you'd watched Potter's first 2 games from West Ham, but that's a team that's had a reaction from a manager being changed, right? Potter will sort West Ham out, as much as it pains me to say it, and we shouldn't be sat here and going, like you said, Savva, we shouldn't be finishing below West Ham, but at the moment, 100% we're going to finish below him, because Potter is actually a coach, and well, it's just laughable, really.
I made a mistake, Savva. I have to take something back.
This guy's been out of management for 18 months, and he's got the same amount of wins that Postecoglou's got in how many games with that West Ham team. That's how
1 in 10. We got 1 in 10. Just to say, Savva, I made a mistake, so I have to apologise to everyone that's watching. Tottenham are, in fact, 13 points away from 7th. Let that sink in. 13 points from 7th.
I'm going to get to this.
Not 4th, not 5th.
Chris, again, hang on. Are we saying that if Ange wins some silverware, he should be sacked? Listen to what I said. Again, Chris, you Ange cult members don't listen very well. I don't care if I get called out for saying that. My point was this, and the fact that Matt's gone very quiet shows you he doesn't know our history. In 1999, George Graham won Tottenham the League Cup. Yeah? How long after, Johnny, how long after did George Graham last?
I don't think it was 6 months, was it?
Right.
6 months.
One day Ramos won the League Cup in 2008. By November, or October maybe, he was sacked because he won none of his first 8 games the next season and was sacked. So my whole point is, just because a manager wins a League Cup doesn't make me suddenly go, oh my God, you're a genius. No, because everything else the manager's done has shown me not, right? You don't know the history, Matt. You've just come in. I gave you ages to answer, and that's the longest gap we've had for you, right? At the end of the day, I'll say it, you and this guy, you're Ange fans, you're not Spurs fans, right? You're Ange fans, you're not Spurs fans. And I'll go to my deathbed with that. Look, guys, league table, then we are going to shut this down because I'm live again in 3.5 hours. For all these people, this is for the people like Matt. This is for the people that don't understand Tottenham and think we're some shitty 15th place team, right? Have a look at this, right? So at the moment, Tottenham, do you remember, Johnny and Barry, do you remember when, 2-3 months ago, the excuse was, oh my God, you're being really reactive, Savva. We're only 4 points off top 4. We're only 6 points off top 4. We're only 8 points. Right, let's have a look at this. So Tottenham Hotspur are 16 points off the top 4. 16. And this was Chelsea, by the way, who most of our fans said we'd finish above this season. 16 points off the top 4. Right? We are, then let's even say, well, top 5 gets Champions League this year because of UEFA coefficient points. Fine. We're 14 points off of 5th. Right? The top 7 gets the Conference League. We're 13 points off Bournemouth in the Conference League qualification position. Right? Now let's go down to the bottom half. Fulham are 10th. We are 9 points off of 10th. That means in the next 16 games, whatever Fulham do, we must do that and have 4 more wins than Fulham. Look at the shambolic state of that. And people are going, he needs more time. I don't know what has to make these Ange fans wake up. This is the worst I've ever known it.
Savva, when I looked in the dictionary, progression means getting better, slowly getting better. Over 18, 19 months, you expect to see the green shoots of recovery and the building of something. All we have is regression. 19 months, we're getting worse and worse and worse. And that's it. That's the facts. And most clubs would have sacked their manager way before where we are now. And the reason is that Levy's got no one to replace him, and he's got no answers. So he's sticking with it. He's throwing the dice. This is a huge gamble. Huge gamble. And quite honestly, I wouldn't be giving him any money to spend in the January transfer window. The only players I'd be bringing in is players of an attacking nature who I can look at and say, whatever manager comes in, will be happy to have them. Whether it's a Tyler Dibbling or a Gittins or someone like that. But who in their right mind would want to come to this club right now?
No one. No one. And if we're honest, are we signing anyone? I don't think so.
But again, I'll go back to this, guys. If I'm a footballer out there looking at Spurs right now, I'm looking at the way Ange plays football. I'm looking at the fact that he can't rotate. I'm looking at the fact that he doesn't change his tactics. I'm looking at the fact that everyone's dropping like flies and their hamstrings are damaged. Why on earth would I want to join Tottenham under this manager? Why? We talk about the chairman, but in the last 24 years, we've seen good players. Why would anyone want to join Angepostecoglou? You think about it, Barry, right? If I'm a centre-half, the first thing I'm asking is, right, when Van der Ven and Romero are fit, how much game time am I getting?
Yeah.
Because I see you never rotate them. If I'm a central midfielder, how much game time am I getting over Sarr, Suma, Madison, Kulu, Bentancur? You know, if I'm a left winger, I'm saying, well, how much game time am I getting? You never drop Son. I think that I just can't think that we're an attractive proposition to want to play for this manager.
No. Well, we all know it. Gray, Bergval, Spence, none of these would have got a look in if we didn't have these injuries.
Correct. That's Barry, what you just hit there. I said, you know, these are the players that Ange would never have used. And yet, ironically, these are the players that have saved his bacon. Because without them, we'd be in one hell of a mess right now.
Dragon said, why are the players saying it's not the training that's causing the injuries? I mean, come on, please. You just think it's a massive coincidence that everywhere this manager goes, they have a mountain of injuries. Oh, are we really? Anyway, look, I'm going to leave it there because I can't be dealing with these Ange fans. I'm just hoping, I'll be honest, I'll say it, I don't care. I'm hoping these Ange fans absolutely F off when he leaves and go and support whoever he does. I want Tottenham fans back.
Down the Emirates, Savva, with you,
mate. I just don't care. I'm sick of these fans trying to tell us proper fans who have been here for years about our own football club. I just can't be doing it, guys. I am going to leave it there. Big up to Rodney, who's come in with a last-minute super chat and said, "Drop into the bottom three, then the penny may drop." Rodney, love you, dude. I think the one thing that Andrew's got going for him is that the bottom three are so bad. I think. Well, having said that, Leicester play us this weekend, but the bottom three are so bad. So bad that we've got the jump on them. Guys and girls, I'll be back at 4 p.m. today in the lead up to the show. I've got Lubo on with me, Stell's on with me, Dan E is on with me. I'm happy to have any Anjin fans on with me, but they never want to come on. Johnny, thank you so much. Big shout out to Brian Daigle. And thank you to Emerson Royale's #1 fan for joining us for the last 20, 30 minutes. Big up to you all. Take care. Smash the subscribe button. Please like. And as always, please, Chris, never, ever mix my name with Ange's name. This is an utter disgrace of a comment. Utter disgrace. That, by the way, he started supporting Spurs 2 years ago, so he's an Ange boy. See you later, guys. Take care. See you at 4 p.m. Levy out. Enoch out. Ange out. And come on, you Spurs.